Chapter 76, Diamond Body. Chapter 76, Diamond Body. Blue Expanse City, Shui Clan's entrance. When Shui Dingtian landed, he noticed that the place was eerily quiet. There weren't even guards around. It made his heart nervous and he rushed inside. He soon arrived outside the main hall. As he looked inside, he saw a familiar figure in the seat of honor, Hell Valley's seventh elder, Yugiki. The seventh elder was leisurely nursing a cup of tea. I wasn't aware the seventh elder graced us with his presence. Please forgive me for not welcoming you. The seventh elder's presence here intimidated Shui Dingtian, but he forced himself to show proper respect as if all was normal in the world. Yugiki sipped his tea, then smashed it on the table. Plop! And Shui Dingtian's heart sank with it. Giving him a cursory glance, Yugiki broke out in an insidious grin. Shui Dingtian, you've been under Hell Valley's care for a century now. We've always been kind to you. Without a doubt. Thanks to Hell Valley and Seventh Elder assisting us, Shui Clan reached today's glory. Shui Dingtian forced his anxiety down, hiding it behind a smile. Yugiki nodded and stood up. He strolled before Shui Dingtian and patted his shoulder with a warm smile. It's great that you think so, then. As he spoke, Yugiki's face twisted and clawed at Shui Dingtian's shoulder as he thundered, why did you collude with outsiders and steal Hell Valley's diamond sand? Shui Dingtian was shaking in fear and fell on his knees to kowtow, Seventh Elder. This is a misunderstanding. The Shui clan has been nothing but loyal to Hell Valley. We would never do such a thing. Ha ha ha, there was a time I thought the same, that you wouldn't be taking advantage of our kindness then move behind our backs. But that time has long passed. Grunting, Yugiki slapped the table to splinters and barked, where is your grandchild, Xuaningxiang? Shui Dingtian stammered for a response, but words left him. Humph, I will tell you. She and two runts stole my diamond sand and they now lie dead in Allbeast mountain range. Yugiki's brow shook as he recalled the dreadful howl he heard at that time. If he had stayed a moment longer, he'd be a goner. Despite not finishing the trio off, he assumed the monster would have finished the job with how wounded they were. He thought ruefully about this event. Xuaningxiang was of use to him, but now she was gone. He came back empty-handed too, no diamond sand and neither a cauldron. Sighing, Yugiki placed his rage on the Shui clan. Men, bring them in. Yugiki clapped and 3 bone tempering experts pulled 3 people in chains. Shui Dingtian was filled with sorrow and tears fell as he looked at them. They were Shui Wanlong and his sons, Shui Gang and Shui Lin. Heavy hooks dug deep into their shoulders, locking their clavicles in place and sealing their cultivation. From the bruises and wounds all over their bodies, it was clear how close they were to breathing their last. Seventh Elder. Shui Dingtian bellowed and stared down the smirking Yugiki with bloodshot eyes. Shui clan sacrificed its all this past century for Hell Valley in defending Blue Expanse City. Is this how Hell Valley repays its vassal clan's hard work? He, your second-rate clan is nothing but garbage. Hell Valley can have as many as it wants. To me, you're no vassals, but somewhat useful watchdogs. We throw you a bone, a reward, and you should be skipping around in joy. When a dog starts raising questions to his master about getting credit for its hard work, it must be put down. Yugiki cackled. Unable to bear Yugiki's mockery any further, Shui Dingtian clenched his fist and unleashed his fury. Exerting his pressure as a profound heaven expert, he pushed back the 3 bone tempering experts around him while Yugiki just watched on with naked killing intent. It seems that the watchdog wants to take a bite out of its master, he. Then it's time to replace it. Yugiki. In his entire life, this was the first time Shui Dingtian uttered the Seventh Elder's taboo name out of sheer rage. Let me ask you. Isn't Ninger's marriage just a cover to use her as a cauldron and practice martial arts? Yugiki looked at him in surprise before laughing, ha ha ha, I used to look down on you every time, but look at how smart you are. We've been at it for so long yet you're the only vassal clan that figured it out. So that's why you defected, it's all for a silly girl. Bastard. Shui Dingtian's fury exploded and rushed with his entire yuan qi laid bare. I'll kill you. Yugiki sneered, sidestepping Shui Dingtian's palm and delivering an attack of his own. Bam! The hit on his chest upset his blood flow and Shui Dingtian spat blood as he tumbled backward. Yugiki made use of Shui Dingtian's prone condition and delivered 2 more palm attacks. Shui Dingtian felt his chest burning and he spurted blood like a fountain. Ha ha ha, Shui Dingtian, you think you have what it takes to kill me? You're nothing but a greenhorn profound heaven stage cultivator that just broke through, while I am in the 3rd layer. You are at the bottom and I am at the peak. You will never overcome this chasm. Yugiki then dealt another palm attack with bloodthirsty eyes. Old coot, die. But go in peace knowing that your son and grandsons will follow you. Powerless to do anything, Shui Dingtian closed his eyes awaiting the final strike. Such an ending, he never wished for his Shui clan. But at the very least, his dear granddaughter escaped this calamity. Shui Dingtian was relieved that Yugiki assumed her to be dead and wouldn't search for her. Stop! A high-pitched cry was heard and Yugiki stopped his attack midway. Looking ahead, he saw Shui Ningxiang at the gate, holding a dagger to her neck. You're alive. Yugiki was in shock. His sole reason for coming to this clan was to have her as a cauldron. Shui Ningxiang took in the sight of her suffering family, her grandfather beaten to a pulp, and her eyes teared. She only had hatred towards Yugiki for his cruelty. Dagger inching at her throat, Shui Ningxiang threatened, if you still want me as a cauldron, release them. Or I will take my life right here and now. Yugiki mocked, he, Ninger, get off your high horse. We do need you to practice martial arts, but you aren't irreplaceable. You have nothing to bargain with. Shui Ningxiang was startled and worry gnawed her heart, but she recalled Zhuo Fan's analysis and showed her white neck as she mocked, 7th Elder, you can't lie to me. I know Hell Valley lacks cauldrons, I know of my value. Since you do not care, then I will die along with my family. Shui Ningxiang then traced her dagger along her neck and blood trickled. Ninger, no. Stop. Shui Dingtian and Yugiki cried at once. Shui Ningxiang looked down on Yugiki, 7th Elder, it seems to me that you're not yet ready to let me go. Yugiki's ruthless eyes flashed, is that runt still alive? Shui Ningxiang avoided his gaze. She knew who he was talking about, he died in Allbeast Mountain Range and you can go look for his body if you want to. But I'm afraid spiritual beasts would have devoured it by now. Humph, don't try to lie to me. Yugiki sneered, I have many enemies, but that runt was the first to bring me to such a state, coming back empty-handed and heavily wounded. Chuckling, Yugiki continued, girlie, don't take this the wrong way, but you do not have what it takes to see through me. That runt must have told you. Shui Ningxiang only stared back, to which Yugiki shook his head, in any case, I will have to take a step back. Since you put me on the spot, I will not take your family's lives. Really? Shui Ningxiang was about to go help her grandfather in joy, but Yugiki shook his hand and a hook bit into Shui Dingtian. Ah! A wail of agony resounded and Shui Dingtian blacked out. His chest was soaked in blood and his clavicle was pierced, just like his son's. Yugiki, you. I said I won't kill them, but your grandfather is a profound heaven expert. I have to make sure he falls in line. I will, of course, let them go once we're at Hell Valley. You better honor your word. Shui Ningxiang stared at him. Nodding, Yugiki snickered, how could I lie when you're so valuable? Men, take Miss Ninger to rest, we will return to Hell Valley on the morrow. An elegant youth arrived next to Shui Ningxiang along with 2 servants. Zhuo Fan would have recognized him in an instant. He was Yu Ming, who infiltrated Blackwind Mountain as Yang Ming and later escaped Windgaze City. Standing next to Shui Ningxiang, Yu Ming snickered, so you are the cauldron for my senior's use? I have to say, you sure are pretty. Chapter 77, Round 2, Start. Chapter 77, Round 2, Start. Young Miss is marrying. Outside Shui clan's gate, an obese granny yelled as Shui Ningxiang was led outside by 2 servant girls. The entire Blue Expanse city gathered around to witness the event. Yugiki and Yuming sported a faint smile. Everyone was happy towards Hell Valley's show of gratitude. Some people were even tearing, imagining it was their family's daughter getting married. Shui Ningxiang walked before the shocked masses. If before they were amazed by Hell Valley's power, now they were in awe by her beauty. Shui Ningxiang was dressed in a common wedding gown but lacked the heavy makeup other brides had. Yet solely from this, her appearance evoked a feeling of genuine beauty, not a fake one from excess preparations. Pure as an orchid, making people afraid of marring. Only this beauty deserved to be married into the 7 houses. The crowd gathered to see her smile, to wish her blessings. But their best wishes and kind thoughts only worked to burden Shui Ningxiang's already heavy heart. Everyone here envied her second-rate clan for their marriage with one of the 7 houses, unaware of the hell that awaited her. Slanting her head towards Yugiki, Shui Ningxiang asked in a cold tone, "Will 7th elder accompany me?" "Ha ha ha, but of course. It is my duty to protect Miss Ninger and Hell Valley's disciples' wedding, to safely deliver you to Hell Valley." The crowd was once again in awe of their kindness. However, Shui Ningxiang only showed a smile of disdain. "What safeguard? It's clearly for monitoring us. At least once Yugiki leaves Blue Expanse City, Big Brother Zhua can escape." Before she could breathe easy, Yugiki saw through her and said with a cold smile, "Oh right, Miss Ninger, I sealed off all Beast Mountain Range, even your secret tunnel. Those rats won't be able to escape from my palm." "You?" Shui Ningxiang flared as her face blanched. It was her clan's secret and Yugiki must have pulled it out from her father and brothers. Zhuo Fan's means of escape was now cut off. "7th elder, I want." "No need to say it." Yugiki cut her off with a cold smile. "Your life was exchanged for your family, nothing more nothing less. Miss Ninger, after you." He then shook his sleeve. A lavish palanquin was before her with 50 bone-tempering experts around it. Shui Ningxiang frowned as she lifted her leg only to put it back down. She wanted to save Zhuo Fan but Yugiki had her family's lives in his hand. She had nothing to bargain with. Suddenly, Shui Ningxiang's thunder ring flashed and her heart seized in panic. "Don't come!" Shui Ningxiang shouted at the sky, startling the onlookers. No one except Yugiki understood the reason behind her reaction. With a sinister flash in his eyes, he patiently waited for his prey. "Ninger, I have come to save you." In response to Shui Ningxiang's shout came another. It was Xie Tianyang piercing forward with Star's sword at Yugiki. Sword intent made the crowd gasp as they scattered. Yugiki just mocked, "Humph, so you want to die? A mere bone-tempering cultivator would find their death close at hand against me." Yugiki, unafraid of the 4th-grade spiritual weapon, struck back with a palm. Against the wind pressure of the palm, Xie Tianyang's sword tip trembled and the sword intent scattered. He was shocked but didn't use the sword to defend and added more power to it. A golden sword light flew from the sword tip and pierced the mighty palm, then it continued towards Yugiki. Space-rupturing form. Yugiki's heart tightened and he vanished from his spot. The sword light struck the palanquin and turned it into splinters. Sword Marquis Abode's profound ranked martial art, flowing spaces 9 forms. Yugiki appeared behind Xie Tianyang and spoke with derision, "You're from Sword Marquis Abode. How can a boy wield its legacy? Are you?" "Humph, none of your business." Xie Tianyang snorted and stabbed backward. This time, the sword no longer had the imposing might. But everywhere it struck, it made space stagnate and Yugiki was slowed. "Empty net." Xie Tianyang bellowed. "Humph, you don't know when to quit." Even with a profound ranked martial art, the gulch between bone-tempering stage and profound heaven stage cannot be overcome. Snorting, Yugiki vanished, only to appear in front of Xia Tianyang. Xia Tianyang was startled but could do nothing as Yugiki's palm slapped him into the air. When he landed, 6 bone-tempering experts surrounded him to make sure he didn't get up. Humph, disgraceful runt. If not for Sword Marquis's abode, you would have died by now. Yugiki mocked him. Xia Tianyang spat on his face and responded as if to spite him, I dare you to kill me. But can you take responsibility for the war that follows? Ha ha ha. Wiping his face, Yugiki's tone turned colder with killing intent. Damn kid, you think I'm scared? You made a mess in my city, so the Sword Marquis's abode won't say anything even if I kill you. Yugiki slapped at Xia Tianyang's chest. Xuaningxiang cried, no. But Yugiki was dead set on killing him. Stop. An aged voice echoed and a golden sword wave hacked down. Yugiki wasn't about to receive it. This attack was unlike Xia Tianyang's, it was backed by the power of a profound heaven expert. He stopped his attack and jumped 6 meters back. Boom! When the dust cleared, a meter-wide hole was in Yugiki's previous position, its depth unknown. A white-haired old man drifted next to Xia Tianyang and fanned the bone-tempering experts away. 8th Elder. The old man looked frail, his eyes cloudy, a stark contrast to the true expert he was. Even his right hand was missing 3 fingers, yet this hand was bony and showed its blue veins clearly. Proof he was a seasoned swordsman. Xia Tianyang cried in joy while Yugiki sneered, Jian Suifeng, 50 years no see. How have you been? Fine, until you came to ruin my mood. The elder spat through gritted teeth. His cloudy eyes seethed with bone-deep hatred. 8th Elder, thank God you're here. Help me save Ninger. Xuaningxiang pulled Jian Suifeng's sleeve. But Jian Suifeng shook his head, Tianyang, this is Hell Valley's affair. We cannot get involved. Youngster, there'll be hell to pay if you poke your nose in others' business. Yugiki snickered, then turned to Jian Suifeng. Case in point, you lost your 3 fingers due to the same reason. Jian Suifeng's eyes trembled from rage as he stared Yugiki down. You think I would have fallen for your scheme if not for being young at that time? Ha ha ha, it would have been better if you had stayed quiet. Yu Ming laughed, I heard from my master about Senior's matter, of the so-called undistinguished elder with rotten youth. At that time, if Senior hadn't lusted over a girl from one of Hell Valley's vassal clans, why would you force your way in her town, only to finally end with you ransomed by your glorious abode lord with 3 cities? Too bad about those 3 fingers, you had to leave those behind. Gritting his teeth, Jian Suifeng was so enraged that veins popped. Yugiki, don't take it too far. Or what, you'll attack. Yugiki made a sinister grin. 5 decades ago you couldn't beat me. And that hasn't changed even now, when we're just 1 layer apart. You best run along and call for your 7th elder instead. He continued to ridicule Jian Suifeng. I am in awe of the Sword Marquis's abode's 13 sword elders' fame shaking the empire. But you're the only eyesore among them, not worth a dime. You, Jian Suifeng clenched his fists and shouted, Tianyang, we're leaving. But 8th Elder, you must at least fight for the honor of Sword Marquis's abode even if we can't save Ninger. Leaving like this. Quiet. Can't you tell he's goading us? This here is Hell Valley's domain. Winning or losing here will put Sword Marquis's abode at a disadvantage. He glared once more at Yugiki and said to Xia Tianyang, Tianyang, remember Yugiki's title and how cunning he is. Next time you meet him, make sure to face him with ample preparation. Xia Tianyang looked at Xuaningxiang not far ahead, and said in a determined tone, I know that. But if I don't save her today, I will regret it for the rest of my life. Ha ha ha, such is youth, ignorant of the world's dangers. Since Sword Marquis's abode's young master is so entertained by the idea of a hero saving a damsel, I will oblige by giving you a chance. Save not only her but also her clan, letting her feel ultimate gratitude towards you. Yugiki clapped and 4 bone tempering experts pulled 4 large crosses, with the entire Shui clan nailed on them, from old to young. Grandpa, Dad, brothers. Xuaningxiang wailed and glared at Yugiki, 7th elder, what are you doing? Acting my role as a villain. Yugiki then sent a grin towards Xia Tianyang, how will the young master play the hero otherwise? He then twisted his face and howled, attack. The bone tempering experts took out hooks and clawed them into the Shui clan's members. Blood fell like rain and their howls rang in the air. They even found the strength to shout their lungs out when the hooks came out of their bodies. Not even Shui Dingtian, who was a profound heaven expert, was eased from this suffering. Xuaningxiang was crying her heart out and yelled, Yugiki, stop or I will kill myself. Then I will kill them all. Yugiki roared in return. Xuaningxiang was rooted to the spot, powerless to alleviate the painful cries of her family. Her knees softened and she collapsed, as did her mind. Snickering next to her ear, Yuming reveled in her pain, girlie, get off your high horse. You're in no position to demand anything from my master. He is insidious demon, the #1 sage of Hell Valley. So many people from the 7 houses have fallen to my master's ploys, and you think you can best him at that? Ha ha ha, I'll have you know this too. It's because you angered him that he chose this course of action. You might have a bargaining chip, but too bad, you're too naive. And don't forget he has a bargaining chip too, rather close at hand. Xuaningxiang lifted her head but all they conveyed was emptiness and tears. Despair and agony. She sacrificed herself to save her clan, but she was far from being able to win against this cunning fox. It instead earned his ire and now he was venting it all on her clan. It's all my fault. She blamed herself for everything. Who will save me now? Xuaningxiang mumbled while looking at the sky in tears, who can save us? Humph, idiot. Yuming mocked her but then shrugged, idiot or not, a cauldron still has its use. Xia Tianyang saw Xuaningxiang losing herself and his heart was in pain. Jian Suifeng stopped him from charging over with a shake of his head and a hand on his shoulder. The farther we are from Yugiki, the better. But 8th elder, Xia Tianyang's words faltered as Jian Suifeng's hand squeezed his shoulder harder, afraid the kid would make a rash decision. Plop. Xia Tianyang collapsed to his knees, his spirit broken, his pride as a genius turned to nothing but tears of humiliation. The girl he liked was suffering before him and he was powerless to do anything. Then he suddenly recalled Zhuo Fan's words. It all went out just as Zhuo Fan had said. Xia Tianyang believed there was nothing he couldn't do, but now he realized how meager and weak he was. It seems that I was the coward all along. He muttered under his breath. Zhuo Fan, you bastard, where the hell are you? Xia Tianyang then raved through his manly tears and punched the ground until his fist inflamed. Jian Suifeng understood the kid's pain but couldn't help him. Suddenly, Xuaningxiang's and Xia Tianyang's ring sparked. Only this time it was much stronger, similar to the time when the 3 thunder rings were close together. He's here. Xia Tianyang looked around with hope. Xuaningxiang shivered and her eyes began to regain clarity. She muttered looking at the thunder ring, be big brother Zhuo. Rumble. Suddenly lightning streaked across the sunny sky. It struck down among the crucified Shui clan members and blasted out the bone-tempering experts there in all directions. The dust rose as lightning still flickered within and everyone was now trying to perceive through it. When the dust settled, it revealed Zhuo Fan sporting his manic grin. Yugiki, I lost the previous round. But the second round starts now. Chapter 78, Terrifying Power. Chapter 78, Terrifying Power. Who is he? Asked Jian Suifeng when he saw Zhuo Fan through the dust while being shocked by the feeling of dread the youth exuded. He was experienced enough to notice that Zhuo Fan had just entered the bone-tempering stage, and yet the aura and power the kid released held a threat to a profound heaven expert's life. This contradiction made it all feel bizarre. Xia Tianyang felt the same. Zhuo Fan's face, which was radiating golden, added an extra feeling of pressure. It was unlike that from a profound heaven expert but felt like raw power was seeping in Zhuo Fan and threatened to destroy his last vestige of life. Everyone felt as if they were standing in front of a savage beast that was ready to pounce on them. He is a friend most untrustworthy, but also most dependable. Xia Tianyang smiled wryly as his body shivered. Not from fear, but excitement. He grasped the possibility that this new Zhuo Fan could save Xuaningxiang. Jian Suifeng looked at Xia Tianyang in amazement. It was his first time seeing this arrogant and genius kid show such confidence and dependence on someone. Jian Suifeng turned to watch Zhuo Fan, to witness what made him so special. Ha ha ha, you not only survived but broke through. Yugiki sensed Zhuo Fan's entirely changed aura but dismissed it. The way he saw it, this was merely confidence from entering a new realm. He would learn on his own skin how weak a bone-tempering cultivator was in the face of a profound heaven expert, and his confidence will deflate like a balloon. One thing did strike him as odd though. He and Zhuo Fan last met a few months ago when the kid was in his 6th layer of qi condensation, and on his last breath. Yet here he was less than half a year later, unharmed and even advanced to bone-tempering stage. His speed sent shivers even down Yugiki's spine. How did this happen? Yugiki thought, this runt is a freak, and must definitely be put down for good. Yugiki snorted, Minger, go and end him for me. Zhuo Fan rose an eyebrow in ridicule, oh, so it's you. That's fine, last time you ran away and left me with regret, but I will be extra careful in making sure to end our grievance this time around. What, you two know each other? Yugiki jerked back at Yuming, only to see his prideful disciple shaking in his boots. Even his face was twisted, pale beyond belief. Useless. Even with me having your back, you're still this scared. Yugiki spat at his disciple's cowardice. It was fine if no one else was around, but with the two from Sword Marquis's abode here, it made quite the embarrassment. A damn lily-livered punk threw all of Hell Valley's name into the ground. Jian Suifeng wasn't one to overlook the chance to laugh at their expense, ha ha ha, a brilliant disciple matching a renowned master. Today I've seen Hell Valley's disciple's staunch will. Yugiki was turning green and kicked Yuming, who face-planted into the ground. What a disgrace. He just broke through, while you're in the 2nd layer of bone-tempering stage. Stumbling to his feet, Yuming took a short glance at Zhuo Fan. But Zhuo Fan's wicked grin seemed to spell death, and so he threw himself at Yugiki's feet with a wail, Master, he is Luo clan's steward, Zhuo Fan. Elder Jian and Elder Yun died because of him. Yugiki froze a second, then flitted a long look at Zhuo Fan. He finally seemed to understand. Zhuo Fan's power wasn't limited to setting up 5th grade arrays. He also had a cunning mind that almost made him pay with his life. It's no wonder the 2 elders died by his hand. In Hell Valley, elders were seen as figures of respect and worshipped by disciples, unrivaled in the world. But Yuming witnessed the death of 2, and now fear gnawed his heart like a demon. He will never muster the courage to face Zhuo Fan in this life regardless of his advantage over him. With Yuming in the 2nd layer of bone-tempering stage, he should have no trouble dealing with the newly advanced Zhuo Fan. But was this notion still valid? Just look at him shivering. Yugiki sighed and patted Yuming's shoulder. To remove his disciple's heart demon, his disciple had to kill Zhuo Fan himself. He stated coldly, anyone willing to capture him will receive my reward. Elder, I will do it. A large man cupped his hands. He was in the 6th layer of the bone-tempering stage. Dealing with an early bone-tempering cultivator was easy pickings. The other guards were sad that they missed such a chance. Zhuo Fan was an easy contribution that just flew away. Yugiki nodded and turned Yuming's head towards Zhuo Fan. Minger, watch. This runt is only good with arrays. Now that he has no chance of setting one, he's done for. The guard will soon bring him over and you can kill him yourself to remove your heart demon. Yuming nodded and looked ahead. Jian Suifeng frowned. Yugiki sure lives up to his title. He instantly figured out his disciple's state and a way to help him overcome it. Tianyang, your friend is in danger. Xia Tianyang looked at the always composed Zhuo Fan and smiled. That punk never batted an eyelid. He will be fine. Such a reply rose Jian Suifeng's curiosity. The difference between the two is of 5 layers, so the outcome should be clear as day. The large man thundered towards Zhuo Fan with a cackle. He, you are a heaven-sent gift for me. I can't wait to receive my reward from the 7th elder once I hand you over. People die from greed, while birds die from hunger. It all depends on you if you can defeat me. Zhuo Fan snickered. Ha, you sure have a big mouth for one who is about to die. One fist is enough to make you behave. The large man's punch was as fast as the wind and as strong as a mountain. Yet Zhuo Fan didn't look like he had time to react. The boom shook in everyone's ears. Xie Tianyang's smile was gone, now replaced with shock that Zhuo Fan wasn't even able to dodge. He was able to contend equally with me when he was a qi condensation cultivator, so why didn't he move? Xue Ningxiang's face fell. Big brother Zhuo. Seeing that Zhuo Fan took the punch head-on, Hell Valley's guards started sneering. He, I knew he was done for, but never thought it'd be over so quickly. Did he really kill 2 of our elders? If he did, then I am first under heaven, ha. Curses, that moron got all the reward. Now I want to know what Valley Lord's gift will be. As the people started chattering, Zhuo Fan's threatening atmosphere soon disappeared from their hearts. Only Yugiki frowned, looking left and right. Ah! A wail pierced the noise of the crowd, and the large man was seen clutching his hand as he stumbled back. His hand was now a twisted and broken mess. Turning to Zhuo Fan, nothing seemed to have changed about him, still the same grin and the same demeanor. This is impossible. Jian Suifeng cried. A first-layer bone-tempering cultivator broke a 6th layer's hand with his face? Xie Tianyang's eyes bulged out. He knew Zhuo Fan always moved with a plan in mind, but even he found this new strength of this youth borderline perverse. With him like this, he'll have no trouble even against profound heaven experts. The crowd now lost their mocking gazes and were instead rooted in place by fear and shock. Zhuo Fan never paid them any heed as he strolled before the large man. The large man was groaning while holding his bleeding hand. Before he could react, his chest was then punched through by Zhuo Fan's fist. It all seemed so easy, as if he punched through paper. Zhuo Fan then flicked his hand and the large man splashed on the ground after a wide trail in the sky. The people watched in abject horror the bulging eyes of the man, his vacant expression. Chapter 79, Human Weapon. Chapter 79, Human Weapon. Yes, obscene. This was the only apt description anyone could think of. Zhuo Fan's power far exceeded the common understanding and only this word could encompass the height he reached. It was common knowledge that bone tempering stage was the best period in a cultivator's life to temper one's body. Even a profound heaven expert could, at best, destroy a bone-tempering cultivator's organs. A far cry from what Zhuo Fan did, running one through. On top of that, Zhuo Fan just broke through, making this even unprecedented throughout history. Monster. It first began as a whisper, but this word grated everyone's ears and they all agreed to this adequate assessment. Fear was painted vividly on their faces. Hell Valley's bone-tempering guards were no longer envious of the lucky man. Instead, they felt sympathy for him. What rotten luck. Not only didn't he earn merit but threw his life away instead. Whoosh. Zhuo Fan was suddenly caught off guard by a white and black pair of chains as they coiled around him. Yugiki smirked, holding the other end of the chains. Damn, even with the kid's insane talent, he'll be mincemeat soon as he is locked by the 4th-grade demonic treasure. Jian Suifeng sighed. He was in awe of Zhuo Fan's ability, of his bright future, but a pity he'll die at insidious demon's hand. Xie Tianyang's heart tensed. He didn't foresee a profound heaven expert like Yugiki resorting to sneak attacks on a newly promoted bone-tempering cultivator. Although the person in question was a freak of nature, it was still despicable. Xue Ningxiang was happy at first but then turned worried. Zhuo Fan eyed the familiar demonic treasure and said, using such underhanded moves from the get-go, that too against a junior. Seventh Elder, seems like you do not care about Hell Valley's name. Yugiki laughed dryly, you're smart to notice my intention from a look. There is hardly anyone compared to your caliber in the Tianyu Empire. You are one outstanding devil that not even I dare to neglect. Ha ha ha, I truly admire the Seventh Elder's cautious nature. In any case, this junior came without any plan or scheme prepared, only to end you myself. Yet you're so prudent regardless. Yugiki's mood darkened. Reading between the lines, he knew Zhuo Fan mocked him for his yellow-bellied attitude. Even he had his limits, especially when humiliated in front of such a crowd by a bone-tempering junior. Runt, say that again and I'll make sure there won't even be a corpse left of you. Am I wrong? Zhuo Fan cocked his head and laughed, with your character, the faster you kill your opponent the better. Yet the first thing you did when I arrived was to send your disciple to test the waters, only to have him reduced to a shivering mess from fear to the point he ignored your orders. And left with no choice, you sent that buffoon to his death in the name of curing your disciple's heart demon. There's no need to even mention winning, but just in case he failed, it wasn't that much of a loss since it offered you the perfect timing to blindside me when I finished him off. And this is the result. Zhuo Fan enlightened everyone and even Jian Suifeng was startled so much that his fear for Yugiki grew. He wasn't Yugiki's match and if he were in Zhuo Fan's stead, Yugiki would have succeeded in his devious plan. Yugiki is ruthless and cunning to the extreme. Yet that Zhuo Fan isn't any better, discovering his ploy in an instant. The insidious demon showing such an extreme caution against a bone-tempering cultivator not only shocked him but everyone present. On the other hand, Zhuo Fan wasn't in the least beneath Yugiki in cunningness. Thinking about this let Jian Suifeng hold Zhuo Fan in higher regard. Hi, aren't you caught in my web despite seeing through it? Yugiki snickered with killing intent, I just need to twitch my arm and you'll turn putty. Zhuo Fan rose an eyebrow and laughed, say, how did a sinister old coot like you turn so stupid? You think it's that easy to trap me since I saw through you? Zhuo Fan's eyes gleamed and lightning cracked. Bam! Yugiki couldn't even react before the chains were thrown away. Zhuo Fan now sported a pair of 10-meter-long wings streaked by flashing lightning. Thunder Skylark's wings. Xia Tianyang cried. Zhuo Fan had appropriated the Thunder Skylark's body for himself. But Xia Tianyang didn't expect him to refine its wings into a demonic treasure. Since the Thunder Skylark was a 6th-level spiritual beast, adding the diamond sand into the equation, the refined demonic treasure would also be 6th grade. Xia Tianyang was in glee. 6th grade flying demonic treasure. Yugiki's tone was grave, with it, you can match a profound heaven expert's speed, however. As he spoke, he flicked the yin-yang chains. The chains moved individually from opposite directions to seal Zhuo Fan's escape. A profound heaven expert's advantage over bone-tempering cultivator isn't just limited to speed. I know that all too well. Zhuo Fan didn't care about the chains, a profound heaven expert relies on his quick moves in melee, not something a flying demonic treasure can overcome. But then, the chains were about to strike Zhuo Fan, one aiming his head and the other his chest. Whoosh! The pair of wings moved like independent arms and swatted the chains away. Yugiki and Jian Suifeng jerked in shock, this can't be possible. There was an ancient story that spoke of flying demonic treasures that could change shape at the wielder's will and launch attacks. But a demonic treasure was inanimate, so how could it do that? The people there watched Zhuo Fan as if they were looking at a monster. He sported a faint smile as he spoke at leisure, but when did I say it's a demonic treasure? While demonic treasures were refined as tools, Zhuo Fan refined the wings into his body. In other words, they were part of his body. he could let them out at will and make them move as he wished. He was no longer your average human being, but a human weapon. If the wings were a 6th-grade demonic treasure, then his body had become a 5th-grade demonic treasure refined through the method of diamond sand tempering. This wasn't something Yugiki and the rest could fathom when not even the denizens of Sacred Domain couldn't. The only ones who could comprehend this were those ancient talents who held the 9 Serenities' secret records and were aware of the deviant secret method to refine materials into their human body. Damn freak. Even the calm Yugiki had to curse through gritted teeth. His eyes were bloodshot and his hands were poised to strike. The 2 chains flitted everywhere and soon became 2, then 4, then 8. Numerous chains approached from every angle like a rain of death, all aiming for Zhuo Fan. He wanted to beat Zhuo Fan to a pulp. But Zhuo Fan smiled fearlessly as he stood his ground. His eyes flashed and the wings moved like lightning. Only the sounds of cracking lightning and grating metal were heard, while not even a trace of the chains nor the wings was seen. But the flickering lightning was proof enough for everyone to know of the bitter fight the 2 were in. This was a profound heaven expert's speed. This gave a shock to the audience and let them know how weak they were against a profound heaven expert. But Zhuo Fan was the one who agitated them the most. A bone-tempering cultivator had such power. Xia Tianyang watched numbly with incredulous eyes at how deep the gap between them was. Even more so when Zhuo Fan of yesterday was a far cry from today. 8th Elder, what can you see? Xia Tianyang saw Jian Suifeng standing there in a daze without blinking. He never saw his elder so astonished in his life. Yugiki is pushing hard with his attacks, but Zhuo Fan is blocking them all. It is unclear as to the outcome, but Yugiki seems to have the upper hand. Jian Suifeng stated so, but his eyes never left the fight, afraid of missing anything. Xia Tianyang was despondent. His and Zhuo Fan's gap was now even bigger. Zhuo Fan of before won with a raise while now he relied only on himself. In merely a single day, their positions switched so much that Xia Tianyang was left far behind in the dust. Chapter 80, Face Slapping. Chapter 80, Face Slapping. Whoosh. The metallic and lightning sounds came to an abrupt stop. Zhuo Fan's expression was one of focus as he halted his wings while Yugiki was nowhere in sight. A sound broke the silence and Zhuo Fan's heart seized, he instinctively bent his wings. Ding! His wings blocked the sneak attack of the chains from behind, but a cold needle was speeding at his back. It was Yugiki with his 3rd-grade demonic treasure, Twisted Needle. He, runt, what are you going to do now? Yugiki snickered. Zhuo Fan's wings were occupied with the yin-yang chains. The 3rd-grade demonic treasure's attack came at an impeccable timing, right when Zhuo Fan's movement was sealed. Not even Yugiki could get out of this one if he was in Zhuo Fan's place. But Zhuo Fan only muttered, mystifying phantom step. Whoosh! He vanished from his place and the chains along with the twisted needle lost their target, throwing Yugiki off balance. Then Zhuo Fan came from behind using his wings as axes aiming for Yugiki's neck. Ding! With a crisp sound, the wings and yin-yang chains clashed again. But this time, their roles were reversed. The situation flipped in a blink, with Zhuo Fan now pressing his advantage. Even Jian Suifeng was affected by this sudden turn. Hell Valley's number 1 sage, Yugiki, was driven to a corner by a youth. 7th Elder, how does it feel to be on the receiving end of a sneak attack? Zhuo Fan's wings pushed against the yin-yang chains until Yugiki leaned backward. If I also had a 3rd-grade demonic treasure, you'd be dead by now. Yet despite your efforts and the golden opportunity, I'm still alive and kicking, so to speak. Yugiki's face flushed and was gasping heavily to ease the rage within him. Zhuo Fan's words were an affront to his title. Yugiki wasn't powerful because of his cultivation, but because of his title as Insidious Demon, the number 1 sage of Hell Valley. Yet Zhuo Fan was mocking his pride. The same as saying, if I were you, I would have long killed my opponent with a sneak attack and wouldn't need to waste time chatting them up. This was the worst humiliation Yugiki ever suffered. One may mock his character, his devious nature, yet he would take them all as badges of honor. But never ever would he allow one to insult his intelligence. That was where he drew the line. Anyone who mocked him for a fool, he would make sure to give them a fate worse than death. Yet Zhuo Fan had him beaten at every corner and kept mocking him, with him powerless to prevent it. This brought a never-felt feeling of resentment. Don't get too cocky, damn runt. Yugiki's anger reached a breaking point. His yuan qi exploded, flinging Zhuo Fan's wings aside. Then, he swirled his chains at Zhuo Fan, leaving behind afterimages. Yugiki was at peak speed, and with the added effect of the yin-yang chains, he reached a new height. Zhuo Fan remained calm as he laughed. His figure darted around with the help of mystifying phantom step and his wings, moving even faster than Yugiki. The people were once again bearing witness to afterimages and metallic sounds clashing with streaks of lightning, but never a clear image of any of the two's bitter fight. They flashed across the entire plaza, one moment to the east, the next to the west. Flashing in every direction possible and even around the bone-tempering guards. But since the people could only hear them and not see, they stood there in fear. One slip, one errant move from their part and only pieces would remain of them. Eighth Elder, how does it look? When Yugiki and Zhuo Fan were at a standstill with demonic treasures, Xia Tianyang could grasp some of the situation. But as the matter devolved to such a state, he was unable to see them and had to defer to Jian Suifeng's assessment. Jian Suifeng however gestured for Xia Tianyang's silence as he focused his all on the fight. After one huge boom, two figures reappeared. Zhuo Fan crossed his hands casually, standing in the same spot, while Yugiki was gasping for breath. Zhuo Fan's nonchalant attitude left not only him but also Jian Suifeng in shock. Who won? Xia Tianyang knew but still couldn't help ask. Jian Suifeng was solemn, soon you will know. Thunderous booms echoed and a score of bone-tempering guards were struck down by lightning. It burst their heads and liquefied their organs. The other guards fled for 50 meters in anxiety while Yugiki and Zhuo Fan stood across each other, having known of this long ago. What's happening? Xia Tianyang darted his eyes to the corpses in fear. Jian Suifeng's eyes never left Zhuo Fan as he spoke in a grave tone, Tianyang, your friend is terrifying. I've never seen anyone like him. That Yugiki, he has never suffered as much as he has now. Xia Tianyang didn't understand, but Jian Suifeng continued, in their clashes, Yugiki was giving his all. They attacked each other again and again and made me believe Zhuo Fan was also fighting with everything. Then suddenly, his speed jumped. But what? Xia Tianyang seemed impatient. Jian Suifeng revealed an imperceptible smile, but instead of ending this battle, he dragged Yugiki around, killing guards right under Yugiki's eyes. Xia Tianyang was startled, why do this? Why didn't he finish the old man off if he had the chance? Ha ha ha, this is where the kid is truly terrifying. Jian Suifeng's eyes shook and he turned serious, he did it to mock that old fool. An elder was led by the nose by a snot-nosed brat, killing a score of his men yet powerless to stop it. Yugiki, known as the insidious demon, was played around by a bone-tempering kid as a cat plays with a mouse. Will there be any pride left in him after this? Zhuo Fan and Yugiki are the same. Offending such a person would invite a world of suffering. Because their revenge isn't limited to killing you, but robbing you of all you hold dear, including pride. Death only comes after there is nothing left to plunder. Jian Suifeng suddenly laughed, feeling all his grievances get washed away, only evil can fight evil. Yugiki was despicable in his ways for too long, and today he met his match in a little demon who has a heart just as black as his. How refreshing! Jian Suifeng's laughter rang in everyone's ears and jarred Yugiki's. The latter was burning with rage and was close to spewing blood. He felt miserable every time he saw Zhuo Fan standing smug. Zhuo Fan's power exceeded his predictions by far. In the first move itself, he discovered that Zhuo Fan had surpassed him. He not only treated this fight as a spar but also had the leisure to kill his men. Zhuo Fan left him powerless. Especially when it came to schemes, where Zhuo Fan was at his level, if not higher. Yugiki felt his head hurt, feeling weak and feeble for the first time. No, this can't end like this. If this gets dragged on for long, he will kill me. I need to end it in one blow. Yugiki had a plan in mind but didn't know if it would work, especially in Zhuo Fan's case. But he was left with no choice. His eyes flashed and flung the chains at Zhuo Fan. This thing won't work on me. Zhuo Fan smirked, readying his wings. But the yin-yang chains veered off from him at the last minute, aiming for Xuaningxiang. Xuaningxiang was rooted in fear, but Zhuo Fan appeared before her in a flash of lightning and flung the chains with his wings. Ha ha ha, I see it now. Yugiki laughed hysterically. Zhuo Fan, oh Zhuo Fan, I found your weakness. In the All-Beast mountain range, you ingrained a deep fear in these old bones with your constant attacks, so I thought you came this time seeking revenge. But now I see it was all for her. And you think this changes anything? You will die just as well. Zhuo Fan stated. Humph, if you bore the same ruthlessness you showed before, I would have some misgivings. But you care for this girl and placed victory in my grasp, ha ha ha. Chapter 81, Instant Kill. Chapter 81, Instant Kill. Yugiki jumped in the air and performed a double hand sign. A demonic face appeared, twisted in malice and pain. Hell Valley's profound ranked martial art, demonic face seal. Jian Suifeng shouted, this martial art is focused on striking at one's soul, it is undefendable. Even radiant stage cultivators will find it hard to cope with such an attack. The lightest injury is dizziness, while the worst would be death. His words traveled to Zhuo Fan's ears as a clear warning. Yugiki noticed this but laughed instead, damn runt, if you dodge, the demonic face seal will kill the girl. If you try to take her, you won't make it. Big brother Zhuo, forget about me and leave. I can die in peace knowing you will save my family. Xuaningxiang urged. Zhuo Fan looked back with a smile, then spoke coldly at Yugiki, she is mine. As long as I'm here, you can't harm her. Then I will kill you, ha 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 ha. Yugiki pointed and the demonic face wailed on its way towards Zhuo Fan. Xuaningxiang was nervous and was about to jump in front, but Zhuo Fan stopped her with his wing. Boom! The demonic face smashed on Zhuo Fan and thousands of gray tendrils of energy wrapped around him. The cries of lamentation, similar to that of a being starved for centuries and finally finding food, were heard all around. Xia Tianyang turned towards Jian Suifeng in anxiety, but the latter only sighed. Even a profound heaven expert was powerless in the face of such an attack, least of all a bone-tempering cultivator. Xuaningxiang couldn't hold back her tears. Hi, damn runt, lust is your downfall. A demonic cultivator should be ruthless, yet you let emotion cloud your judgment and make you weak. Yugiki cackled as he turned to Xuaningxiang, wench, his death is on you. Xuaningxiang watched Zhuo Fan become gray and her cries became heartrending. If not for saving her, he could have lived. Big brother Zhuo, forgive me, it's all my fault. Xuaningxiang sobbed. Ha ha ha, foolish girl, don't let that old goat see you cry. You're only bringing him satisfaction. Suddenly, Zhuo Fan's voice came from within the ball of gray tendrils. The crowd was shocked. Wasn't Zhuo Fan reeked with pain inside there? How is he so calm? Yugiki cried in fear, this isn't possible. His soul should have been swallowed whole. Ha ha ha, you want to kill me with a parlor trick? Aren't you a tad bit naive, insidious demon? An azure flame flashed from within the gray tendrils. The gray energy retreated every time the flame moved. As the gray energy withdrew, Zhuo Fan was soon revealed before the crowd with an azure light coming from his forehead. Zhuo Fan muttered, "Demon transformation art." Suddenly, the gray energy wailed as they were devoured by the azure flame. And Zhuo Fan felt his soul growing stronger as a result. Demon transformation art was originally used to absorb everything to promote one's cultivation. The reason he couldn't absorb souls so far was because his own wasn't strong enough. It would only be a detriment if the result would have harmed him instead. But since he refined his soul, it grew in power, akin to Radiant Stage Cultivator's level. And having the strange azure flame as a protector, this measly amount of vengeful ghosts were nothing more than a snack after the flame removed the waste. Eyeing Yugiki in the air, Zhuo Fan mocked, "Is that it? If you have no trick up your sleeve, guess I'll have to get serious." "Get serious? He, stop showing off. Are you saying you've been playing around all this time?" Yugiki was both angry and startled. Startled that Zhuo Fan could dismiss such a strong attack and angry from his contempt. But that was how Zhuo Fan treated him, with naked contempt. Wasn't he insidious demon of Hell Valley, their #1 sage? Despite all that, fear grew inside him. This was a foreign feeling to him since he always grasped his opponent's weakness before striking them down. But when he looked at Zhuo Fan, he only felt powerless despite everything he threw at the kid. Furthermore, he had a nagging feeling that all his moves were within Zhuo Fan's calculations. Zhuo Fan played him like a fiddle, leaving him without a shred of dignity. This fear he had was the worst he ever felt. Chuckling, Zhuo Fan mocked again, "Seventh Elder, I wonder, do you remember what you told me a few months back in the Allbeast Mountain Range? Against true power, all schemes are moot." Yugiki's eyes dilated, his heart sped up, and a bad feeling crept its way down his spine. "Today, I throw this line right back at you." Grinning, Zhuo Fan pointed at the sky, "In just one move, I will have your head." "Bullshit." Yugiki could no longer take it and snapped. He now realized, Zhuo Fan's end goal this time was revenge against him while he was only saving Xuaningxiang in passing. From the moment Zhuo Fan showed up, he smacked the old man's face at every corner, to show him how useless his insidious demon moniker was before true power. "My intelligence is laughable when it comes face to face with raw power. My cunningness falls short to his." Zhuo Fan wanted to crush his pride as an insidious person, to die in pain. What a dreadful kid, far worse than even Yugiki. Jian Suifeng felt overwhelmed with shock. He is even more terrifying than Zhuge Changfeng. This thought helped Jian Suifeng understand Zhuo Fan's actions so far. It is unknown if he will one day be friend or foe. Observing him now is for the best. Ignoring the gazes around him, Zhuo Fan stared down Yugiki with delight in his eyes. Perhaps all demonic cultivators were at their happiest in the throes of slaughter. Zhuo Fan laughed, "Yugiki, ready? It's time you see what real power looks like." He jumped the next moment. Bam! He shot for Yugiki like a rocket. Yugiki attacked with his yin-yang chains. But with a flap of his wings, Zhuo Fan slipped right past them. Yin-yang chains couldn't even touch him and he was already punching at Yugiki. "Haha, got you." Yugiki laughed and a black and white chain flew at Zhuo Fan's chest. But Zhuo Fan only said, "Oh, so you had another set of chains besides those two. But so what? With my power, all your plans are moot, including all you've hidden so far." Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed and a golden light flew from his body. It was the blood infant after being refined with diamond sand. The blood infant, which was comparable to a 5th-grade demonic treasure, charged at the black and white chain. The chains couldn't last even a second as blood infant tore through it along with Yugiki's arm. Yugiki was shocked to find that the golden light, which passed by his ear, had taken away not only the chain but also his arm. He only now woke up to the validity of Zhuo Fan's previous words, so much so that blood infant's power scared Yugiki. He had no time to feel the loss of his arm when Zhuo Fan's punch was right at his face. "Damn runt, you think you can kill me in one move? He knew his death was sealed, but he wasn't about to let Zhuo Fan determine how he died. Or he really would never rest in the afterlife. The only reason he still fought was for his honor. Whoosh! Third-grade demonic treasure Twisted Needle flew from his sleeve towards Zhuo Fan's fist. As long as he stopped the fist, he wouldn't die in one blow. Such was the glorious mind of the number one sage in Hell Valley, reduced to after fighting with an equally insidious demon. Zhuo Fan was here to make sure he would be left without a scrap of honor. The punch still moved without hesitation, meeting with the Twisted Needle, to the joy and hope of Yugiki. But the crisp sound that resulted from the contact revealed that the Twisted Needle broke in two. The fist was unaffected in the slightest as it bore into Yugiki's chest. Yugiki watched in horror and muttered, What kind of damn monster are you? Humph, I don't mind telling you. My body is as strong as a 5th-grade demonic treasure. Yours was only a 3rd-grade demonic treasure. And as for why I'm such a freak. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed as he recalled the endless anguish and torment he had to live through. Isn't it all your fault? Roaring, Zhuo Fan threw his fist and flung Yugiki into the ground, smashing a few buildings. Blood flew from Yugiki's mouth as he watched Zhuo Fan in the air with shock and loss. How does your freakish change have anything to do with me? With this final thought, Yugiki's head sagged and breathed his last. His eyes were wide open, never to find peace. Oh, Yugiki, what a tragedy befell you, one of the great men of Tianyu Empire. Jian Suifeng found that the Hell Valley guards Zhuo Fan routed were now scrambling away from this place, abandoning even their elder's body. Only a cold wind blew over the white hairs on Yugiki's body, which was lying there on the cold and hard rubble. His eyes were wide, despite losing their light. Xia Tianyang was still looking at the sky, in Zhuo Fan's direction, but then spoke in a sour tone, Damn bastard, good for you killing Yugiki, but what are you playing at taking Ninger? Tianyang, help the others down, we'll rush to Sword Marquis's abode to heal them. The Shui clan will become Sword Marquis's abode's vassal clan. Jian Suifeng indicated towards the crucified Shui clansman. Xia Tianyang jumped and smiled, that's my intention. 8th Elder, who knew we thought alike? I was also going to save Ninger's clan. Humph, who is like-minded with a brat? Jian Suifeng snorted, you've seen what that little monster is capable of. Only time will tell how far his strength will reach. Since he went out of his way to save these people, it won't hurt to earn his favor. We might even become friends in the future. And in case we stand on opposite sides, we can use these people as hostages to deal with him. Xia Tianyang only smiled wryly at his elder's reasoning. Humph, so you're not saving Shui clan because of me but because of that prick Zhuo Fan. Just who is a Sword Marquis's abode's core disciple here anyway? If this gets out, my name will be dragged through the mud. Although secretly cursing, he still went to work. Since this was his aim all along, to help Xuaningxiang. Yet none was the wiser as half a mile out, Yu Ming was curled up in shivers. His fear of Zhuo Fan grew out of proportion, to such a scale that he might never overcome this heart demon. Bastard, this is the 3rd time. What did I ever do to you? Everywhere I go, you come killing. Last time you killed 2 elders and this time you killed my master. Abomination. Yu Ming cursed Zhuo Fan to high heavens. But when Zhuo Fan's cold face resurfaced in his mind, shivers reeked his body. A month later, in the emperor's gardens of the imperial capital. 2 old men were playing chess beneath a pavilion. One of them was dressed in a golden gown and had white temples and cloudy eyes, he was the emperor of Tianyu Empire. The other elderly had a long beard, white hair, and exuded an imposing aura. Whenever a guard looked his way, their eyes were filled with respect. Among the melodious chirping of the garden birds, the chess pieces being moved made for a calming rhythm. Suddenly, a wail broke the blissful peace, Lord Father, something big just happened. A 200-kilo round ball of flesh rolled next to the emperor. He shook the very earth he stepped on and threw the chess match into a mess. Rubbing his forehead, the emperor smiled dejectedly at the other man, who only smiled understandingly. Songer, didn't I tell you to face all events with calm? And haven't you noticed that I am playing chess with Mr. Sima? Why yes, I know my wrongs. Yuan Song rushed a bow to the emperor and the elderly, then wiped the sweat from his forehead. Speak, what is the matter? The emperor held on to another chess piece, not minding his son. Yuan Song forced his excitement down and said in a grave tone, reporting to Lord Father, Hell Valley's 7th elder was killed a month ago. The chess piece in the emperor's hand clanked on the board and he looked at the frowning Mr. Sima. Who did it? The emperor then turned his hardened face towards Yuan Kong. Seeing no one around, Yuan Song whispered, it is someone from the clan we are currently endorsing, Luo clan steward, Zhuo Fan. A month ago, something got into him that he killed the 7th elder of Hell Valley in Blue Expanse City under everyone's eyes. It was also revealed that he was the one who killed Hell Valley's 2 other elders in Windgaze City and used Veiled Dragon Pavilion as a patsy. What? A brat killed Hell Valley's 3 elders, their precious Yugiki included? What guts? Mr. Sima said to the emperor, Your Majesty, how should we handle it? The emperor evoked a faint smile and kept playing chess. If it only involved the 7 houses, it would have posed a headache. But as matters stand, Yuan Shan won't have the cheek to complain to me. Don't let them snuff out the Luo clan. This pearl of mine is about to reveal its splendor, ha ha ha. Bam! The emperor slammed the chess piece with delight. Yuan Song looked long at the emperor then bowed and left. Prime Minister's residence in the imperial capital. Prime Minister Zhuge Changfeng laid on a rocking chair with half-closed eyes, swaying gently. Suddenly, a black shadow whispered in his ear. What? Zhuge Changfeng flashed his eyes open in shock, then sighed, the balance between the 7 houses is now askew. I will need to make ample preparations for the aftermath. And he resumed his previous state, gently swaying on the rocking chair. High Priest's residence in imperial capital. A white-haired elder was reading through some information delivered by one of his men. As he read through, a frown appeared on his forehead and he signaled his men to withdraw. With shaking steps deigning his old appearance, the elder walked into the observatory and looked up towards the sea of stars. The star of war is near and turmoil is on our doorsteps. A spark is enough to light this powder keg. The ruler is about to change, I only hope the people can weather the storm. Veiled Dragon Pavilion's headquarters. Pavilion Lord Long Yifi and some elders were in a meeting, but 2 young people were also present, Long Jia and Long Kuei. Because of their efforts and brilliant conduct, 7 days ago, Long Yifi officially allowed them to participate in the Elder Council, pleasing the 2 to no end. Recently, Xiao Kuei and Xiao Jia have displayed impeccable conduct. I propose to send them to cultivate under the Grand Elder and learn the house's profound ranked martial art. Long Yifi smiled looking at the 2 and spoke with pride. 3rd Elder commented with a hardened look, these 2 kids progressed well, however, they are only average by contrast with the other house's genius disciples. How? 3rd Elder, don't underestimate us. We are on the verge of breaking through to the bone-tempering stage. Long Kuei protested while Long Jia was in accord, 3rd Elder is right. I heard rumors that Sword Marquis Abode Xia Tianyang became a bone-tempering expert 3 years prior. We are still far behind him. Xiao Jia is so modest. You will do great deeds in the future. God I Long Jiao nodded with satisfaction, a black crow perched on his shoulder, the soul-devouring crow he got from Zhuo Fan. Looking at the bird, Long Jiao couldn't help his expression softening. If you 2 brats were half a man my brother Zhui is, you'd be training our passed-down profound ranked martial art by now. Humph, Uncle Jiao, why bring him into this? Long Kuei always became irritated whenever she heard Zhuo Fan's name, he is cocky, brash, and doesn't want to join Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Even if he has a smidgen of talent, that doesn't make his rise guaranteed. We will undoubtedly surpass him. A man suddenly barged in while shouting, "Urgent report, Pavilion Lord." Third Elder waved him away after taking the report and read it. The next moment, his hand froze and the paper drifted to the floor. "What's wrong, Third Elder?" Long Jiu picked up the paper in worry, never having seen Third Elder so spooked. But the contents left his soul in tears. "Good brother, I owe you again. What is all this about?" Long Yifi was inquisitive like the rest of the people present and took the paper. His brows shook and his voice betrayed his excitement. Hell Valley's Yugiki was killed by Zhuo Fan in Blue Expanse City. What? Everyone was dumbstruck. Who hadn't heard of Yugiki? He was the greatest headache of everyone, especially for Long Jiu, who had his eye stolen in Yugiki's ploy. Yet this dreadful man was killed by Zhuo Fan. Their shock was understandable. Even Long Jia and Long Kuei had heard of Yugiki's infamy. After all, he was a man feared by all elders of the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. They instantly felt how far behind Zhuo Fan had left them. "Ha ha ha, well done." Long Yifi burst in laughter. "I was right in my decision. This kid is a dragon among men. Increase our support to the Luo clan and send some men to safeguard their clan. I'm sure we all can agree on that." It was a unanimous decision. Not even the elders who were against Long Yifi proposing an alliance with Zhuo Fan showed any complaint. After all, none of them here could do what Zhuo Fan did, sending that Yugiki to his grave. And the Veiled Dragon Pavilion was just the beginning. The continent's clans soon came to know of this affair. Among the shocks and cries of joy, Zhuo Fan's name was etched in the minds of many clan leaders. Chapter 83, Hell Kill Order. Chapter 83, Hell Kill Order. In a lone valley, sieged by mountains on 3 sides and a narrow trail on the 4th, the sun's warm glow barely reached this place throughout the year. Being shrouded in mist, this place was a cesspool of poisonous insects and rats. Yet this particularly strange environment led to the development of some of the rarest herbs the world had ever seen. To gather such ingredients, men braved many dangers through the valley, where the mortality rate was incredibly high and the ghosts of the fallen exacerbated the gloom. People came to call it Hell Valley. 1,000 years ago, a powerful group stumbled upon this odd place and established a foothold. They even set up a 5th-grade array to safeguard from the gruesomeness of this valley. This group was the Yu House, one of the 7 noble houses of Tianyu Empire. With time, people came to call this valley as the strongest house that could oppose the imperial family. Until now. In Hell Valley's meeting hall, Valley Lord Yuanshan was in a poor mood as he sat on his throne. Out of the 12 total seats, 9 seats were occupied by elders. Each time he glanced at the empty seats, his eyes turned savage. "Yu Ming." Yuanshan bellowed, "Do you mean to say that 3 of Hell Valley's elders are dead because of a single kid?" Kowtowing on the ground and shivering uncontrollably, Yu Ming replied, "I wouldn't even think of lying to Valley Lord. Elder Jian, Elder Yun, as well as my master, 7th Elder, were indeed killed by Luo clan's steward, Zhuo Fan." "Useless wench." Yuanshan slapped the table. "You knew he killed 2 elders before, so why didn't you report this sooner?" "Spare me, Valley Lord. It was my master who forbade me. Master found it too weird and ordered me to keep it to myself. He told me that he will find the opportunity to deal with Zhuo Fan. But before he could, Zhuo Fan broke into our city and..." At this point, Yu Ming's voice was choked with sobs. The rest of the elders snorted. All demonic cultivators are cruel and cold, so why is this punk getting so worked up? Throwing such a show would make them despise him instead. The elders were all clear this wasn't his fault yet refrained from pardoning him. If they'd trade places, they would do the same. If not, they'd be accused of rash thinking and that would be used as an excuse by some others to remove them. Who would believe that a fresh bone-tempering kid could kill a profound heaven-seasoned expert if not for it happening before countless eyes? Valley Lord, Yu Ming might have erred, but he had no control over what happened. Our first priority is to deal with the aftermath. This was spoken by the first elder on the right as he stood up. Tianyu Empire's mighty clans have set their sights on us. If we let that kid go unpunished, what will the people think? We will become the laughingstock of the empire and our vassal clans will abandon us. Yu Wanshan frowned, his eyes filled with cruelty. Grand Elder is right. We cannot let that punk get away with this. Wasn't he some steward of Luo clan? We'll make the Luo clan answer for his transgression. Valley Lord, you mustn't. A deep and worried voice traveled from an old man with raven hair, seated on the opposite side of Grand Elder. Yu Wanshan snorted, Second Elder, what are you trying to say? Do you think it's alright for someone to kill our people, shame us, and then walk away? What will others think of Hell Valley? Valley Lord, I am not stopping you from settling this debt. Only. Second Elder muttered something before resuming, Valley Lord should remember the ban the Emperor enacted a year ago on the 7 houses which was against stepping foot in Windgaze City. If we breach it openly, it will give the Imperial family the excuse to strike. Second Elder makes a fair point. This is not the time to move in the open. And there are also reports that the Imperial family and Veiled Dragon Pavilion's experts are patrolling nearby Windgaze City. We will fall into their trap if we go. Grand Elder urged. Eyeing the 2 most respected elders, Yu Wanshan hesitated for a while before spatting through gritted teeth, we can't do this, we can't do that. What else can we actually do? Even the elders turned silent. Yu Wanshan sighed, this wouldn't have been such a headache if the 7th elder was here. Blasted punk, he managed to rob me of my wisest advisor. When I get my hands on you, I will skin you alive. Seeing them all pensive, the kneeling Yu Ming darted his eyes left and right before making a tentative remark, Valley Lord, may disciple be so bold as to convey a solution? Humph, the elders' meeting is not something you can join. Get the hell out. Yu Wanshan barked without even looking at Yu Ming. But Grand Elder's gesture detained him, Valley Lord, the kid can be considered as 7th elder's successor. Why not give him a chance? Yu Wanshan conceded when he heard the Grand Elder's reason. Yu Ming's heart burst with joy as he rushed to explain, Valley Lord, this disciple's humble opinion is to ignore the Luo clan. From my observation, Luo clan is relying on Zhuo Fan. With him around, even if we remove the Luo clan, it will only make it worse for us. But if Zhuo Fan is out of the picture, then the Luo clan will fall from grace. They will have no hope of replacing us, Hell Valley. Yu Wanshan's eyes flickered, go on. Yes. His mouth twisted in a smile, Yu Ming said, we cannot approach Windgaze City, but Zhuo Fan is nowhere near it either. We just need to focus all our efforts in dealing with him. And how will we find him? Yu Wanshan questioned. Issue the Hell Kill order and have the Empire corner him. Yu Ming revealed his savage side, we will then know where he is going, and before he returns to Windgaze City, we can just ambush him. Yu Wanshan cackled, good, that's what we'll do. Men. He then shouted orders, in my name as Hell Valley's leader, I declare the Hell Kill order on Zhuo Fan. Anyone who provides clues to his location can become a vassal to Hell Valley. Anyone who brings me his head will become Hell Valley's #1 vassal, ruling above all others. Yu Wanshan's sinister laughter echoed, to which Yu Ming followed up with a vile smile. Zhuo Fan, you abomination. I won't dare face you, but now you have the whole empire after your head, he he he. Grand Elder smiled, as I thought, this kid is still thinking about revenge. But the elder didn't care since Zhuo Fan was the enemy of Hell Valley. Grand Elder stated, Valley Lord, even if we declare Hell Kill order on Zhuo Fan, since he killed 7th elder, the weak clans won't be his match. I think we will have to act if we want to end him after all. Then all elders move out, kill that bastard. Wait. Grand Elder gestured, he killed 7th elder, elders below 7th won't be of any help. From Minger's retelling of him, he must be a body-refining demonic cultivator. The only ones who can stand up to him are the first 5 elders. Furthermore, he turned to a red-haired elder, 5th elder, you refined your body with the scorching demon flame. Your unbreakable body is the perfect match for that kid. Don't look at me. Yet the man in question shook his hands again and again while smirking, I am about to join Drifting Flowers Edifice's 100-pill meeting. I don't have the time to run around after some snot-nosed brat. Humph, what's so great being invited by women to a meeting to discuss about pills? Is going there more important than taking revenge for the house? Yuan Shan snapped. Grand Elder lightened the atmosphere with a smile, Valley Lord, the Drifting Flowers Edifice may be made up of women, but they are still one of the 7 houses. Establishing a close relationship will only work in our favor. They extended an invitation to 5th Elder since they took an interest in his fire attribute cultivation method, in hope of refining new pills. Humph, how did a bunch of skanks climb up to our position? One day I will personally go and take over their domain. Yuan Shan said viciously. Grand Elder shook his head, Valley Lord, I would like to have Yu Ming participate in 7th Elder's place in our future elder meetings. Suddenly, a shadow grew before him and Lei Yuding came from behind. Cracking his eyelids, Captain Pang stood up with a smirk, Miss Lei's elusive shadow art is becoming more and more outstanding. I didn't even notice you were coming. Humph, your Wraith art isn't any less impressive, reaching bone-tempering stage in just a year. You're making those clan's geniuses jealous. He, it's all because of Brother Zhua. Captain Pang laughed and peeked next to him. Not 5 meters from him, a 15-year-old was braving above other blades as sweat marred his brow and trailed along his scarred body. But around him were corpses riddled with wounds, as if hacked by countless edged weapons. Damn it, what kind of vile method are you cultivating? Lei Yuding cursed. Captain Pang replied with indifference, of the 20 kids you sent, only 1 barely made it. Send me another batch. With just 1 survivor you want more? Lei Yuding raised her voice in shock. Captain Pang smirked, it's actually quite a good result. For 50 to die while training in this art is normal. But for Luo clan, everything is worth it. Humph, you are hard at cultivating, and what is that brother of yours doing? Snorting, Lei Yuding fetched a paper, he killed Hell Valley's 7th elder and they've issued a kill order. What? Captain Pang burst into laughter, Brother Zhua truly does incredible things, shaking the world everywhere he goes. Then he patted Lei Yuding's shoulder, Miss Lei, don't be too worried. With Brother Zhua's skills, Hell Valley's order won't affect him. Humph, who the hell cares about him? Lei Yuding muttered through gnashed teeth, he just went and provoked Hell Valley over a girl. Since when was he so goody-goody? Captain Pang grinned, so that's what it was, ha ha ha. Sometimes, Brother Zhua quite likes striking a heroic figure. Hero? My ass. You think I don't know him? Sighing, Lei Yuding turned into a shadow and vanished. Captain Pang shouted the next moment, don't mention this to young miss, especially the last part. But Lei Yuding's response didn't come. Captain Pang sighed, ah, women. Chapter 84, Wraith Style. Chapter 84, Wraith Style. Achoo! Who's bad-mouthing me behind my back? In a secluded forest, Zhuo Fan scratched his nose and set his eyes on a 100-meter-tall rock. He suddenly flexed his legs and jumped, with the wings behind him flashing with lightning. Wraith style first move, soaring demonic dragon. Roar! A black draconic image flashed with him at its center. The dragon intertwined with the lightning and smashed into the rock. Boom! The rock crumbled like a stack of cards and Zhuo Fan came out with a flash. Then he turned around and unleashed a black claw at the rubble. Wraith style second move, Ghostly Dragon Claw. It was lackluster compared to the previous thundering explosion, but it made up for it with visual impact, turning the rubble to sand. The tremors even frightened the birds away. Zhuo Fan gasped as he continued sweating, but his hands kept dancing through gestures, aiming for the flock of birds. Wraith-style third move, Necro Dragon's Screech. Roar. The sound was eerie, akin to a demon. Zhuo Fan's wail even made ripples through the air as it swept the flock of birds. The birds froze mid-air, their eyes blanked, and fell dead. One look would spot thousands of dead birds. Zhuo Fan was now reduced to a gasping mess, crouching down with a downcast look. This low profound ranked martial art matched the Wraith art. Each strike held enough power to shake the earth and kill instantly. Although ranked low, it was nonetheless strong as a mid-profound ranked martial art. The problem was the high requirement these moves had on the body, making it viable only to Wraith art cultivators. But with Zhuo Fan's refined body, he long surpassed it. In theory, these moves should have been easy for him to execute. Yet the fact remained, only after training in them for a month did he realize that he didn't lack in the body department, but in the soul. He was in the first layer of bone tempering stage and using profound ranked martial art almost exhausted his yuan qi. The last move, in particular, Necro Dragon's Screech, was a soul attack that could only be trained when one was in the radiant stage. With his body and soul refined, his soul power shot up, and even with the added benefit of the azure flame, he just barely succeeded. But it didn't stop him from feeling his vision swoon and collapse. Goddamit. These moves will be the death of me. If I don't kill my enemy with these, he will kill me. Zhuo Fan sighed and sat cross-legged to recover his yuan qi. Killing Yugiki stirred up a hornet nest. He was bound to stumble on a far stronger opponent and needed to protect himself by training powerful martial arts. As a consequence, he hid for over a month in the mountains to practice, yet the outcome wasn't in the least bit reassuring. Half a day later, Zhuo Fan stood up with a rosy complexion, having recovered. His hand flashed and was now holding a large egg. He looked at the singed marks on the egg with worry. The Thunder Skylark egg was still alive thanks to its mother's spiritual energy. But this only put a delay on things. If he wanted to hatch it, he'd first have to restore its vitality. Just where am I supposed to look for the needed spiritual herbs in this vast world? The egg wasn't fully developed yet and common herbs wouldn't do any good. He'd need those rare treasures capable of snatching a man's life from the jaws of imminent death. Zhuo Fan couldn't help but frown at this thought. Song Yu, hand over the body tempering pill if you know what's good for you. A sudden shout interrupted Zhuo Fan's musings. His face darkened and walked over. Who's the bastard that dares disturb my peace? Pushing a branch aside, Zhuo Fan saw a man and a woman driving a carriage. The man was around 20 with fine features and at first layer of bone tempering stage cultivation, while the woman was of similar age, charming complexion, and in the second layer. They were surrounded by 6 men, of who 5 were in the 8-9th layer of bone tempering stage and the last one, an old man, was in the 6th. The pair was now staring daggers at the old man. Humph, the body tempering pill was made by us, the Song clan, through a secret formula to join in the 100-pill meeting. You think I'm just going to give it away? The man snorted and a first-grade spiritual weapon appeared in his hand. Zhuo Fan smiled in derision. The body tempering pill was a 4th-grade pill, useful in tempering one's bones, and also useful in aiding a 9th-layer qi condensation cultivator in breaking through to the bone tempering stage. The only downside was that it could only be used once. For the genius Zhuo Fan, who was worry-free about breaking through to bone tempering stage, this pill was garbage. And this crappy pill was made from a secret formula, what a bunch of weaklings. But the bloodshot-eyed old man thought otherwise. Ha ha ha, Song Yu, Song Qian, aren't the two of you in the bone tempering stage at such a young age thanks to it? Your third-rate clan, which seized the secret formula for a 4th-grade pill, is being too greedy. It's best if you just hand it over. Humph, we would rather die. Song Qian and Song Yu charged at the old man who did the same. Bam! From just a single palm attack, both of them drew wide arcs in the air trailed by their blood. Despite being in the same stage, the difference of 5 to 6 layers wasn't something they could overcome. He, Miss Song Qian, is this necessary? Be good and hand the pill and its formula. Are you going to force this old man into patting down the both of you? The old man eyed Song Qian's enticing curves and let out lascivious laughter. Song Qian glared with hatred but then sighed and looked at her brother. Are you scared? I am not. Song Yu's steeled himself. Then let us die together. At least the clan's formula won't land in that old bastard's hands. Song Qian made a downcast smile and raised Song Yu's spiritual weapon to their necks. This scene stirred Zhuo Fan's heart, his mind drifting to the siblings in the Wind-Gaze city. They would have had the same ending if I wasn't compelled by the heart demon at that time. Sighing, Zhuo Fan shot a leaf at the pair. Whoosh! Just when it was about to slit their throats, the weapon fell off her hands. Who's there? Both the siblings and the old man shouted anxiously. Is it really necessary to kill them over a 4th-grade pill? Zhuo Fan stepped out of the tree line. The old man laughed. Here I was nervous who might come, and it's only a brat fresh into the bone-tempering stage. He mocked Zhuo Fan. Kid, aren't you a demonic cultivator? Everyone knows demonic cultivators are the most savage and ruthless bunch out there, and you have the cheek to preach me on mercy? I'm not preaching mercy, but power. Zhuo Fan sneered. Now that I have witnessed this matter, you can't kill them. Humph, with just you. The old man's eyes glinted with malice as Song Qian shouted anxiously, Little brother, run. Save yourself and forget about us. Run? Too late. While Song Qian was urging him, the old man charged at Zhuo Fan with a snicker. Kid, you only got yourself to blame for poking your nose where it does not belong. The siblings could only close their eyes to be spared of the horror. Yet with a crisp sound, Zhuo Fan stood unfazed while the old man fell in a pool of blood, headless. The laughing old man was dead in an instant, and despite the others having smiles on their faces, their eyes were filled with terror. They clearly saw how Zhuo Fan made a casual attack and popped the old man's head. Monster! A scream echoed and the others ran for their lives. Zhuo Fan didn't care about them and turned to leave. Wait! Song Qian called. Her eyes were in shock of Zhuo Fan's immense strength despite similar cultivation levels. It was as different as heaven and earth. Chapter 85, 100 Pill Meeting. Chapter 85, 100 Pill Meeting. What is it? Zhuo Fan asked as he turned slowly. He noticed the elegant beauty, yet he didn't bat an eyelid. Song Qian was the one to be affected by his gaze instead, blushing and lowering her head. I have yet to know little brother's name. One day, the Song clan will repay you for saving our lives. No need. Saying so, Zhuo Fan started leaving. Startled, Song Qian felt somewhat discouraged in her heart. All males in 100 miles of Song clan would be speechless in her presence, yet Zhuo Fan gave her the cold shoulder. This led to the rising discontent inside her. She skipped before Zhuo Fan and stopped him by raising her hand. But he just frowned. Is there anything else? This fool. Song Qian was cursing inside but showed an enticing smile on the outside. Little brother, where are you planning on going? None of your business. Zhuo Fan bypassed her with a snort. Song Qian's mouth was twitching as she shouted, we are on our way to 100 Pill Meeting. Why not join us? Zhuo Fan paused, then turned. Drifting Flowers City, the home of Drifting Flowers Edifice, one of the 7 noble houses? Exactly. Nodded Song Yu as he rushed over. Drifting Flowers Edifice holds the 100 Pill Meeting once a decade. It is a gathering where famous alchemists from clans around the empire compete over their refining method. If luck would have it, the Drifting Flowers Edifice would take notice of you and take you in as a vassal clan. Zhuo Fan scratched his nose. 100 pill meeting is bound to have plenty of rare ingredients and the chance is high for me to find the treasures to restore the egg. He made a lopsided grin. Your words caught my interest. I would very much like to see the 100 pill meeting. Great. Let's go together. Song Qian jumped in joy. Zhuo Fan smiled, assuming another identity while entering one of the 7 houses isn't a bad idea. The Song siblings were glad he agreed. With Zhuo Fan's strength, nothing would stop them from reaching Drifting Flowers City. Oh, what do I call little brother? Luo Fan. Zhuo Fan scratched his nose. He could no longer risk giving his real name, not since Blue Expanse City. He figured the entire Tianyu Empire was privy to his name by now. Then again, he was Luo clan's steward, and using their name was perfectly normal. Song Qian, Song Yu. The two introduced. Zhuo Fan then followed the sister and entered the carriage, which had various ingredients strewn about, while the younger brother drove it. But Zhuo Fan didn't even spare these plain items a glance. Song Qian kept making eyes with Zhuo Fan, but seeing her efforts hit a wall, she turned awkwardly to look out the window. But then she burst into a giggle with a red face. Seeing this, Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. She either lost it or is smitten. I wouldn't have gone with them if I knew. Throughout the trip, Song Qian treated him like a rare breed, eyeing him at every chance. He tried his hardest in switching places with Song Yu, but the kid turned him down and he was forced to endure the doe eyes from Song Yu's sister. After a long half a month, the carriage slowly approached a city's gates. Song Yu laughed. Brother Luo, sister, we're here. About freakin' time. Zhuo Fan stepped out in a rush from the red-hot gaze of the other passenger. But then he cursed when he noticed the gate. How in the hell is this Drifting Flowers City? Why did you even stop here? The plaque above the gate read, Orchid City. This wasn't under any of the 7 houses' jurisdiction, but the imperial family. Ha ha ha, Brother Luo, calm yourself. An old friend of my father stays here. We've come to Orchid City to buy ingredients from him before setting out to 100-pill meeting. Hearing this, Zhuo Fan could only sigh. Will my suffering ever end? Song Qian stepped out and glared. Do you hate being around me? Zhuo Fan just shrugged. But Song Yu laughed and revealed a vulgar smile. Brother Luo, I know exactly how you feel. I am the same, itching to get to Drifting Flowers City. They say the 15 overseers of Drifting Flowers edifice are like fairies, and the edifice lord an outstanding beauty, proclaimed as the #1 beauty in the empire. If I can see her once, my life is fulfilled. Song Yu wore an intoxicated look. Chapter 86, Murder Fest. Chapter 86, Murder Fest. He scared them into submission without lifting a finger. Just how was he a bone-tempering cultivator? Song Qian and Song Yu saw a whole new Zhuo Fan and their hearts started racing. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure landed before Qi Tianlei. He checked the young master and became enraged finding him unconscious. Who did this? The newcomer whipped his head back and roared, his eyes flickering with flames of rage. But then he noticed Zhuo Fan and all of a sudden his anger diffused. Zhuo Fan frowned and took a much closer look at him. The man was around 40 years old, with a beard and at peak bone-tempering stage. From the fine clothes he was wearing, it was clear he was a clan head. Song Qian, who was roused from her shock by the shout, began apologizing with tears welling in her eyes. Forgive me, uncle, it's all my fault. Take it out on me. The man's eyes then noticed the Song siblings and his gloomy face cleared up with a laugh. Ha ha ha, so it is Qianer. I was wondering why this brat ran so fast to the city gate, seems like it was to welcome honored guests. So it was all a misunderstanding. Come, follow me to our home. You've come a long way to Orchid City, it must have been tiring. As your host, I'll do my best to make you comfortable. The man overlooked Qi Tianlei's situation and simply shouldered the unconscious fellow as he took the lead. The way he switched tunes real quick, and how he took sideway glances on and off at Zhuo Fan, the later felt it as a warning. What was all that about being looked down on by Qi clan? You were clearly trying to fool me. Zhuo Fan smirked. This uncle of yours cares for you even more than Qi Tianlei, ignoring even his scared silly son. Why would he? He is Qi Ganglai, the Qi clan head, and not once did he look kindly on us. Song Yu said confused, but today he's like a different person. Qi Tianlei is his only son, the apple of his eye. Something odd is going on for him to ignore his son's plight. Yeah, baffling. Zhuo Fan scoffed. Song Qian watched Qi Ganglai leave, then turned to the other two. What's so strange? He must be in a good mood today, so don't make assumptions. At least he didn't pursue it, or we would have been worse off. Just him. Zhuo Fan sneered. What could a peak bone tempering cultivator amount to when not even a profound heaven expert was a match for Zhuo Fan? As his strength grew exponentially, he felt the return of his confidence as the demonic emperor. But anyway, the Song siblings were clueless to his strength. Song Qian walked to him with quick steps, then rolled her eyes. I know you're great, but that's within the bone tempering stage. Could you handle a profound heaven expert? If you get on their bad side, not even we can help you. Zhuo Fan scoffed. Song Qian shook her head, but her eyes never left Zhuo Fan. His haughty and condescending attitude stirred her maiden heart. In fact, she felt oddly safe next to him, something she never felt with anyone before. The Qi clan welcomed the trio in their residence, and before they could leave to purchase any ingredients, the Qi clan head's message came that he wanted to reminisce with the siblings. Without a choice, Song Qian and Song Yu went to see Qi Ganglai while Zhuo Fan was left alone in the guest house. Now I can finally get some cultivation done in peace and quiet. 6 hours later, the door creaked open. Zhuo Fan, sitting on his bed, saw the Song siblings tiptoeing inside. Did you finish your talk with Qi Ganglai? Song Qian and Song Yu jumped in fright, then nodded woodenly, their eyes full of fear. What's up? Was that old coot hard on you? Zhuo Fan asked with suspicion. They both denied. The more Zhuo Fan looked at them, the more he felt his suspicion grow. Song Qian laughed dryly. Zhu dash, Brother Luo, Qi clan head is holding a feast in our welcome. Come join us. Zhuo Fan smiled, since it is for you too, I won't go as I don't know him. You can't. Song Yu exclaimed, but tried to save the situation and dispel Zhuo Fan's doubts with a forced laughter. Brother Luo, this is the Qi clan's residence. The clan head even threw a welcoming feast for us. It would be crass of us if we are not present. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. Do I have to? Yes. They both nodded. Zhuo Fan stood up with a sneer and said, lead the way. We must join the festivities if he went so far as to invite us, even if it ends up a murder fest. His words had the two siblings shivering and looking guilty. Arriving at the hall, they saw Qi Ganglai seated on the main seat with a smile while 9 other bone-tempering elders flanked his sides at a round table. Looking closely, the table had 3 lone empty seats in the furthest corner of the hall, with walls on either side of them. Zhuo Fan secretly mocked them. It's ridiculously obvious that they want to attack me. The fact my seat is in the worst possible position proves it. Can't you be any more obvious? He let out a faint smile and didn't let it get to him. Even if they attack together, their end is still the same. Zhuo Fan and the siblings arrived at their seats with a fake smile. Qianer, Xiao Yu, I am most pleased with your visit to our city. Uncle shall toast to you, for your success in the Drifting Flowers city and joining the Drifting Flowers edifice. Qi Ganglai laughed as he drank. The others followed suit and the Song siblings were no exception. Yet Zhuo Fan only brought the cup to his nose and then sported a wide and ineffable grin before placing it on the table. Qi Ganglai frowned a bit as the atmosphere grew tense. Ha ha ha, little brother is called Luo Fan, right? Qianer told me about you, how you looked after them on your journey. I shall toast in gratitude. Qi Ganglai drank another cup, yet Zhuo Fan was as still as a rock. This time, the people around the table eyed Zhuo Fan viciously. Qi Ganglai gave them looks to calm down and said, Brother Luo, I am the Qi clan head and am offering you a toast. Aren't you going to reply in kind? As wine takes a heavy toll on one's body, I have learned to abstain from drinking. Zhuo Fan grinned, and I'd recommend Qi clan head do the same. Who knows what mistakes one can make in their drunk haze? You might earn the ire of someone you should not and end up destroying yourself and your clan. His knuckles white on the cup, Qi Ganglai felt the sweat trickling down his brow. The others were also growing anxious. Taking a moment to calm his nerves, Qi Ganglai continued with a fake smile, little brother is wise beyond his age. I understand now how you could become a bone-tempering cultivator at such a young age. But a youth should be more impulsive and learn to live in the moment, enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Qi Ganglai laughed, hinting at the cup before Zhuo Fan. The latter shook his head, life is enjoyable as long as you have it. I am young and don't plan on leaving this wonderful world just yet. Losing his patience, Qi Ganglai rose from his seat and shouted, What do you mean by this? Ha ha ha, cut the act. You know who I am, else you wouldn't have set up such an obvious trap. Zhuo Fan lifted his glass and tipped it. The wine touched the table and sizzled in white smoke before eating through it. 100 Bane Pill, refined from a 4th-grade spiritual beast, the scarlet poisoned python's venom. With a mocking grin, he stared at Qi Ganglai, most of all, these bone-tempering experts must be your elders. Even for a junior's welcoming feast, this is too much of an honor. Sigh, clan head, it was really hard to fake overlooking it, you know? Ha ha ha, can you be any more obvious? Zhuo Fan's mockery had Qi Ganglai flushed with anger and gasping in an attempt to calm himself down. Damn it! Since it fell through, then I'll cut to the chase. Qi Ganglai roared and his power froze the Song's siblings in their seats. Zhuo Fan, you messed with Hell Valley and they issued the Hell Kill order on you, making you the #1 target of the Empire. Rather than let others have you, I'll take your head and claim the Hell Kill order's reward for myself. Elders, attack. Chapter 87, Betrayal. Chapter 87, Betrayal. At Qi Ganglia's order, the 9 elders pounced. The tremendous pressure had the Song siblings frozen in panic, unable to move an inch. Yet Zhuo Fan smiled as he flipped the table. Boom! Among the splinters, there was no shadow of Zhuo Fan around. The elders looked around in a daze. He, here I am. The ridicule came from behind. They didn't even have time to turn as an elder's skull blew up in a spray of blood and gore. Zhuo Fan dusted a piece off his hand as he jeered, the first. The elders were speechless from the show of strength Zhuo Fan displayed. He was in the same stage as them and was attacked from every direction, yet he still managed to pull off a kill. The rumors were true, you really are a monster. No wonder 7th elder died at your hands. Qi Ganglia's eyes shivered as he watched Zhuo Fan in fear. Zhuo Fan looked down on him with a smile, and you chose to attack anyway. Hell Valley can't hold me and you think you have what it takes. He, fortune favors the bold. The bigger the danger, the greater the reward. Qi Ganglai grinned as he charged with a crazed look. An image of a tiger appeared behind him as he charged. Mid-spirit ranked martial art, Tiger Fist. Roar! The tiger's image superimposed on Qi Ganglia's movements, but Zhuo Fan stood there with a sneer and punched out. Bam! The noise was jarring to the ears and the Song siblings were forced to curl up on the ground while hugging their heads. The tiger pushed Zhuo Fan 10 meters back, his legs leaving 2 trails in the floor while the tiger itself turned into golden motes of energy and died out. Then a blood-curdling scream resounded as Qi Ganglia's hand was split open. Clan head! The elders cried out in panic, yet the man only had eyes for Zhuo Fan, watching him in fear. God damn it, what kind of freak is he? How is he so damn hard? From their exchange, he knew he had the upper hand in terms of yuan qi, but Zhuo Fan's body was as hard as a rock, as if it was freaking refined to be a spiritual weapon. What the hell are you? Qi Ganglai panted, you're no human. Smirking, Zhuo Fan's eyes gleamed with savagery. Regardless, it doesn't concern you. He then took a step forward, mystifying phantom step. He appeared before 3 elders and struck before they could react, burying his fist into their chests. The elders were still baffled as to what happened to their clan head's hand, but now they finally figured out this little devil was inhuman. Where could one find a man who could casually punch through 3 bone-tempering experts? The Song siblings were dumbstruck. Although they had some semblance of knowledge about Zhuo Fan's abilities, this went beyond their wildest imaginations. Zhuo Fan's power allowed him to be in control despite surrounded by experts, even squashing them like bugs. This was absolute power. Everyone present there looked at him with grave faces and terrified minds. Zhuo Fan, I was rash and overconfident in provoking you. Please, on account of Qianer and Xiaoyu, let us go and we will never cross paths again. Qi Ganglai knew the matter was only going to get worse and capitulated. However, Zhuo Fan wasn't someone who was soft when it came to punishing his enemies. He mocked, Qi clan head, I warned you to think twice about the consequences. And as for those 2. Zhuo Fan turned to the siblings, since when do traitors have any value? Qi Ganglai, are you looking down on me, or do you really expect too much from them? Song Qian and Song Yu felt deep regret. Luo, no, brother Zhuo, we were forced to do it, please. Talk is cheap. Zhuo Fan cut off Song Qian with his frosty tone, actions are louder than words. Leave. And make sure we never meet again. Pursing her lips, Song Qian hung her head in regret while Song Yu sighed. Qi Ganglai saw Zhuo Fan unwilling to compromise and blew a gasket. Zhuo Fan, you will regret pitting yourself against my entire clan. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Can you take me down with you? Zhuo Fan sneered. Qi Ganglia's face alternated between green and white, spatting through gritted teeth. Elders, all together. Yes, clan head. The remaining 5 elders jumped at Zhuo Fan in unison, each of them resigned to death, executing their best moves. Zhuo Fan knew they wanted to exchange their lives for his, but it mattered little. With a crackle, lightning flashed and his wings unfolded, flying around them. The 5 elders' moves hadn't even finished before they were split in 2, splattering the ground in blood and painting it red. Humph, barely worth the effort. Zhuo Fan scoffed. Whoosh. Suddenly, a faint streak of blue rushed at Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan discovered Qi Ganglai sporting a sly grin. He used the elders as bait in releasing his true killing move, this dagger. You think you can beat me with this lousy trick? Zhuo Fan sneered as he flew. Yet just then, a tender cry followed by a graceful figure came right before him. Watch out! Following a grunt, blood splattered, and Song Qian struggled to stand with black blood flowing from her mouth. Sister! With a wail, Song Yu rushed to catch her weak body. But Song Qian only had eyes for Zhuo Fan, working hard to muster the strength to look at him. Forgive us, we didn't want it to come to this. Zhuo Fan just sighed. Damn bitch, you ruined everything. I will kill you. Having his plan thwarted, Qi Ganglai flew into a rage and charged at the siblings. Snorting, Zhuo Fan's wings flickered like swords. In a blink, Qi Ganglai stopped and fell to pieces, with blood and viscera oozing. The Qi clan experts were vanquished. Zhuo Fan then started inspecting Song Qian's wound. He noticed the dagger stuck in her shoulder, and black blood seeping around its blade. He pulled it out and frowned, it's poisonous. Poison? Song Yu grew frantic and was close to tears, it must be one of the Qi clan's poisons. I will check their stores to see if they have an antidote. Sister, you must hold on. Song Yu wiped his tears and left. Wait. Zhuo Fan jumped to his feet to stop Song Yu, but a frail hand caught his arm. He looked down at the pale Song Qian. "Don't go." Song Qian's faint voice came. Zhuo Fan gave a curt nod and steadied her by placing his palm on her back. I only wanted to tell your brother this poison can be removed with Yuan Qi." "Ha ha ha, he is always impulsive, unlike you." A faint smile adorned Song Qian's wan face and her delicate hand touched his. A pair of glistening eyes locked his own in an unshakable gaze that unnerved Zhuo Fan. He felt as if they were back in the carriage. Worried about her state, he rushed to clear the poison. However, when his Yuan Qi entered her body he found a problem. Why can't I find its source? This hardly ever happened. Based on his experience, there were two reasons. 1, because she never got poisoned, and 2, this type of poison couldn't be sensed with Yuan Qi. He found Song Qian's health deteriorating and came to a decision. Since Yuan Qi was useless, the second method implied drawing out the poison. But the wound's close position to her chest made it hard not to encroach upon her dignity. This will make it terribly awkward. Chapter 88, Trap. Chapter 88, Trap. What is it? Song Qian found Zhuo Fan making an odd expression and asked. After muttering to himself, Zhuo Fan spoke, that is, the only choice is to suck the poison out. Song Qian understood from his hesitation and her pale face was tinted pink. Then, sorry to trouble you, Song Qian's soft voice rang hard in his ears. The delicate and charming look would stir anyone's sympathy. Licking his dry lips, Zhuo Fan ripped her clothes around the wound and exposed her fair skin. Song Qian shuddered as she closed her eyes with a red face. She knew what was about to happen, but when her clothes tore, she still gasped. "Then, 1,000 pardons, Miss Song." Zhuo Fan forced a smile in this awkward situation and neared his mouth to the wound, beginning to draw the poison out. But the longer he sucked the more doubts sprouted. Why is the blood spicy? Why is Song Qian's blood normal, as if she wasn't poisoned to begin with? However, he pushed aside all conflicting thoughts and kept sucking to make sure she was out of harm's way, that is, until her blood turned scarlet again. "I've taken most of the poison out, so there should be no problems." Zhuo Fan let out a breath he was holding, but his eyes were clouded with more doubts. Then, a smoking hot body hugged him and two tender arms curled around his neck. Zhuo Fan was startled. "Miss Song, what?" Song Qian's hot breath entered his ear. "Zhuo Fan, do you know? I liked you the moment I saw you." Zhuo Fan's eyes darted left and right, his tone wavering. "Miss Song, your brother will be here soon." "Never mind him." Song Qian's tongue left a trail on his cheek, making him feel as if a bolt of lightning had struck him. "I only want you next to me." She didn't give him the chance to put up any resistance as she drew his head into a hot kiss. As his eyes grew lost, his heart was thoroughly shocked and his mind blanked. He reached the demonic emperor level because he always had cultivation in his mind, taking into account every step, every detail. So much so, he had overlooked the matters between a man and a woman. When Luo Yunchang and Lei Yuding stole a peck, it floored him, but this time, his mind was literally blown. "Damn it, I was born twice and a virgin each time, but never did I come upon such a battle." Then, Zhuo Fan's eyes flared with irritation and pushed Song Qian away. "What did you just give me?" In his daze, he could still feel something entering his mouth and dissolving. Song Qian cried as she hit the ground, then a burst of laughter echoed around him. "Ha ha ha, something marvelous, I'm sure." A black figure appeared and threw a large transparent bell over Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan exclaimed, "Fourth grade defensive spiritual weapon." "Ha ha ha, indeed. This is the Qi clan's treasure, Violet Canopy." The black figure landed in front of Zhuo Fan and revealed itself to be an aged man. His eyes were filled with glee and rancor. "You're the Qi clan's profound heaven expert." Zhuo Fan tried to get up but his head swooned, falling back to his knees. "What's going on? Am I poisoned?" Ha ha ha, that's a powerful toxin of the Qi clan, Soul Devourer. The old man mocked, it targets one's soul and no one beneath Radiant Stage can last more than 2 hours. Even they will die 3 days later without our antidote. Zhuo Fan frowned. The old man saw through him and cackled, you must be wondering how you got poisoned. He, let me tell you. The dagger wasn't poisoned, it was only dabbed in something to change the blood's color. The true poison was on Qianer's shoulder, which you were more than happy to suck out. 2 more figures walked next to Song Qian at this moment, Song Yu and Qi Tianlei. Song Qian and Song Yu appeared to be eaten by guilt, avoiding Zhuo Fan's eyes. But Qi Tianlei stared right at him through the cover he was in, with deep-seated hatred. You killed my dad. I will tie you to horses and have you ripped to pieces. Humph, I've seen my fair share of dishonorable old goats, but your Qi clan's elders take the cake. Zhuo Fan jeered, if I'm not mistaken, Qi Ganglai was the bait from the start, expecting me to kill him. In other words, you've all given up on him from the get-go. Having been exposed, Qi Tianlei was left speechless. But no matter how true it was, none of them would dare speak of it. Chapter 89, Cold-Blooded Slaughter. Chapter 89, Cold-Blooded Slaughter. P4553R. How could this be? Zhuo Fan's casual rise to his feet left everyone astonished, especially Qi Weilin. The Soul Devourer passed on through generations, a Radiant Stage expert killer, was dealt with just like that? What is that? Qi Weilin now noticed the azure flame on Zhuo Fan's forehead and exclaimed, did that thing remove the poison? The flame vanished the next second and Zhuo Fan had a wicked grin plastered on his face, ha ha ha, the dead needn't worry too much. All of them were startled and took a step back. They saw the terror Zhuo Fan could unleash and his words only worked to unnerve them. But Qi Weilin gathered his courage when he noticed the violet canopy was still around Zhuo Fan. There's no need to worry, the brat is trapped under my spiritual weapon. There's no way. Roar. He didn't get the chance to finish his flimsy reasoning as a dragon roar echoed and a black light ran through his chest. With a jerk, Qi Weilin was left bleeding from his mouth. What just happened? As Qi Weilin wiped the blood away, he felt his body growing colder. His life was seeping away yet he couldn't understand why. He looked towards Qi Tianlei and the Song siblings only to find them staring at his chest. Qi Weilin looked down and discovered a fist-sized black hole spurting blood. He noticed an identical hole at his back too. It was as if something had burrowed through his chest. How did this happen? Qi Weilin couldn't comprehend what had happened even on the brink of his death. But when he looked at Zhuo Fan, his eyes narrowed. Zhuo Fan was gasping beneath the violet canopy after using close to half of his energy, but his hand was still in the form of a dragon claw. It just so happened that there was also a fist-sized hole in the canopy, aligned with his chest. Only now did the horror and dread of what transpired got to Qi Weilin, monster. To force your way through a 4th-grade spiritual weapon, with only your body strength. Bam! His body hit the ground hard, his eyes were still shocked and incredulous of what came to pass. Zhuo Fan killed him in an instant despite being trapped. Not even a profound heaven expert could display such power if they were in Zhuo Fan's place. He is an abomination that will end my clan. Along with the fear Qi Weilin felt, there was now endless regret. Ah! Song Qian cried in terror while fleeing. Qi Tianlei and Song Yu's knees softened, shivering all the while they ran alongside her. Gasping, Zhuo Fan showed a vile smile of delight. Wraith-style second move, Ghostly Dragon Claw. Among the profound ranked martial arts, Zhuo Fan could only employ one move fully, yet it still sapped half of his strength. But the power makes it all worth it. The Wraith style was suited to a body cultivator, the stronger the body, the more outrageous the blows. However, the end result exceeded Zhuo Fan's imagination. It was a perfect match for his 5th-grade demonic treasure body. At first, he only thought of giving it a shot in breaking the 4th-grade spiritual weapon. Yet the results showed that the spiritual weapon was like paper in front of the ghostly dragon claw. I was right in my course of action. Since my freaky body refining worked, a stronger martial art was only fitting. Zhuo Fan revealed a radiant smile. Then, his wings whipped out with a flurry. Rumble. The broken violet canopy turned to pieces and Zhuo Fan eyed the trio in the distance with coldness. His wings flapped and he was on them in seconds. He then blocked their retreat and the trio stumbled to the ground with pale faces. Go ahead, run. Zhuo Fan's vile smile was a prelude to the horror that followed. Let's see who's faster, me or you. Why, young Master Zhuo, the Qi clan was blind not to see your greatness. You killed my grandfather and my dad, please let me go. Qi Tianlei was so scared by Zhuo Fan's twisted grin that he was pounding the ground with his forehead, all the while shedding bitter tears. Zhuo Fan gave a faint smile and hoisted him by his neck. Now that you said it, it's best I kill you too, to accompany them in death. Black tendrils left Zhuo Fan and burrowed into Qi Tianlei. In but seconds, Qi Tianlei was turned to dust, scattered to the 4 winds. If the brat dares to step foot in it, he'll have to face the 5th elder. Then he flew away. The other 2 elders also picked a direction and left. What was left behind was a desolate and eerie place, void of people. So came to pass the number 1 clan in Orchid City, destroyed to the roots. Chapter 90, Scapegoat. Chapter 90, Scapegoat. The spring breeze rustles the shore's willow. I am riding in search of pills. One does not know the one he is facing. All because he can't gaze beyond his nose. This was the singing voice of a youth, who was driving his cart slowly on a road. If the Qi clan's recently departed ghosts were here, they'd be shocked to the core. Wasn't this their carriage? Wasn't the youth Song Yu? Didn't he die? However, there was one thing out of place. This youth had a devious grin on his face, enough to scare the most wretched ghosts. His smile closely resembled that demon who annihilated their entire Qi clan. Who? The youth reined in the horses as he gazed to the distance, at the 3 words emblazoned on the gate, Drifting Flowers City. I'm here at last. I hope this place has life-saving herbs, or it would be a true waste of time coming here. The youth grinned as he snapped the reins. But a shout delayed him, stop. Following the yell, 6 people appeared around him. The youth gave them a once-over and rose an eyebrow. Hell Valley? Oh, quite perceptive. You recognize us? The leader scrutinized the youth in amazement. From the way you look, you seem like some clan's young master. State your name. The youth asked in puzzlement. Shouldn't Drifting Flowers City be managed by Drifting Flowers Edifice? Why? Cut the chat. A cursing voice cut him off. Hurry it up before I lose my patience. If this place didn't belong to Drifting Flowers Edifice, I would have killed you just from you being so slow on the uptake. The youth frowned, his eyes flashing with killing intent before suppressing it. I am Song Yu and hail from Nitrain City's Song clan. Father commanded me to participate in the 100-pill meeting. This is my clan's seal. He fished out an engraved jade from his bosom. The leader looked over it and nodded. Meanwhile, his men rummaged through the carriage and they too nodded. Fine, you can go. But if you catch sight of this man, notify us at once. The man gave the youth a sidelong glance as he handed over a roll of paper before leaving. Once the men were out of sight, the youth regarded the unfolded paper with a sneer. It was the Hell Kill order on Zhuo Fan along with an impeccable drawing of his features. On the bottom of the paper, rewards were stated. Anyone who provided clues to his whereabouts could become a vassal to Hell Valley, and whoever brings his head could become the foremost among all of Hell Valley's vassal clans. Humph, they really can't see beyond their nose. How can you find someone you don't even recognize? He mocked as he rolled the kill order into a ball before throwing it away. Indeed, this youth was Zhuo Fan. After damning the Qi clan, he was aware that everyone in the Tianyu Empire would be privy to his face. So he refined a little pill that turned him into Song Yu and resumed his way to Drifting Flowers City. This would work wonders in searching for treasures unperturbed by narrow-minded fools. And wearing the Song clan young master's identity would also leave Hell Valley grasping straws. As he entered the city he realized how grand it was, a perfect match for the headquarters of Drifting Flowers edifice. It was a city, true, but it was 10 times more expansive than an average city. By contrast, Windgaze City and Blue Expanse City looked like towns. Especially when it came to the people on the streets. There were many young masters of clans wandering about, but the difference was they were all from first-rate clans. These young heirs were more important than the clan head or elders of a third-rate clan. This made the third-rate young master, whom Zhuo Fan was impersonating, look like a beggar. With a bitter smile, he snapped the reins for picking up speed. He'd best find lodgings fast or he'd feel dwarfed in this crowd. He assumed that posing as Song Yu was a walk in the park. But now that he got here, he knew that third-rate clansmen were a rarity as most of the people in the city were from the second and first-rate clans. Instead of blending in, I became the odd one out. Zhuo Fan's carriage creaked down the street before finally stopping in front of a tavern. "Owner, do you have a room available?" Zhuo Fan asked the man at the counter. The man looked up, then returned to counting his profit. "Hey, now you really aren't looking beyond your nose." Zhuo Fan was getting irate fast and slapped the counter as he roared, "Do you have a room or not? You think I don't have the coin for it?" Looking up at him again, the owner said in a laid-back manner, "Show me the clan seal." Zhuo Fan was a bit shocked at this. Even a shop owner asks for it now? But he still chose to take it out. The owner got one look at it and jeered, "Yeah, just the Song clan, a third-rate clan. And what's wrong with that? Didn't you open this establishment to make money? Are mine unwelcome here?" Shaking his head, the owner patted Zhuo Fan's shoulder, and impersonating a wise sage, he counseled, "Young man, there's a rundown hut 3 miles out. It won't charge you a dime." Zhuo Fan blinked in shock, then rage burned in his eyes, "Owner, even I know those are the slums. Even if I come from a third-rate clan, I am still a guest in your tavern and should be treated as one." The owner sighed but didn't pay him any more heed. Then sudden laughter drifted over. "Ha ha ha, Song Yu, you hick. You came for the 100 pill meeting without even knowing the rules of Drifting Flowers City?" Zhuo Fan's heart seized. How come the first place I visit, someone ends up recognizing Song Yu? He saw a flashy young master coming down the stairs with 4 elders in tow, bone-tempering experts. That person himself was at the 5th layer of bone-tempering stage. On his left was a cute young lady, not a beauty but one worthy of appreciation. But the lady only looked at Zhuo Fan with despise. Zhuo Fan narrowed his eyes as his mind was going a mile a minute in his curses, "Damn brat, you got what you deserved. I spent half a month traveling with you yet you didn't say anything about the ones you know here. I should have seen this coming." In any case, the young master saw Zhuo Fan keyed up and laughed, "Brat, are you still a scaredy cat? No wonder my little sister doesn't like you." As if on cue, the lady snorted. Zhuo Fan licked his dry lips in embarrassment and said, Brother is quite right. Since you do not welcome me, I shall leave." "Hey, wait." Just as Zhuo Fan was planning on leaving, the young master called out to him, his face tinted in suspicion, "Strange, something is off with you today. What brother this and that, why are you calling me in such an odd way?" Zhuo Fan secretly cursed his bad luck, thinking he was exposed. If that happened Hell Valley would come storming in and his plans would go up in smoke. All the more reason he was itching to snap this punk's neck. "Oh, right. The young master interrupted his inner cursing by coming up with a seamless explanation. Don't tell me you're still mad that Warner turned down your marriage proposal and ruined your self-esteem. Are you so petty to be still brooding over it after all this time? When he heard this, Zhuo Fan's eyes sparkled and his heart leaped. It was as if he was grasping straws while drowning and finally found purchase. He instantly changed his demeanor and faked anger. Humph, don't mention it then. We are done here. I don't want to see you guys ever again. Sigh, this is where you are wrong. Why are you dragging me into yours and my sister's problems? The young master shook his head, then his eyes shifted as he said in an understanding tone, don't forget, we are close as brothers, lifting our spears together and together, he he he. This, Zhuo Fan understood perfectly. The way he looks, he must be a second-rate clan's young master. How did Song Yu get to befriend him? And by the looks of things, they're buddy-buddy too. Then again, this might not be so bad. Zhuo Fan's lascivious smile mimicked his, he, a real man doesn't boast about his past glory. You don't need to say it. What? I last longer than you by far. I can take 8 rounds while you only 5, the young master then made an obvious gesture towards Zhuo Fan. If not for his sister's presence, he'd be going in much more gory details. Sigh, those 3 days and 3 nights were a bliss. Zhuo Fan saw his intoxicated face and adjusted accordingly. Though the lady there stated her disagreement with her disgusted reply, gross. She then proceeded to walk out of the tavern and let the 2 perverts to their vile imagination. Chapter 91, Chit-chat. Chapter 91, Chit-chat. P 4553R. Zhuo Fan and the young master were like best pals now, chit-chatting what all young men talked about those days. This worked to Zhuo Fan's advantage, finding all the particularities regarding Song Yu's past. Dong Tianba belonged to an average-sized town's leading clan, considered a second-rate clan in the empire, but far stronger than the Song clan. Not too long ago, Dong Tianba's father sent him on business to Nitrain City, where this young master hit it right off with the dastardly Song Yu. The moment Song Yu found that his friend was from a second-rate clan, he took it in stride, drinking and going to pleasure houses, not forgetting to act the haughty part that deigned his new position, and all of this alongside his friend. It went so far that Dong Tianba was even planning on giving his sisters, Dong Xiaowan, hand in marriage to Song Yu. Song Yu was close to going crazy from joy as that was the greatest gift any from the Song clan would want. As all was set and done, he went straight to proposing. Unfortunately, Dong Xiaowan was the only daughter of the Dong clan, the apple of her grandfather's eye, so how could he let Dong Tianba decide her fate? As a result, when his grandfather found Song Yu's social standing, his dastardly moral talent, the grandfather catapulted him out of his home and even rebuked his grandson. As for Dong Xiaowan, she never forgave her dear elder brother for bringing up such a proposal. I am your sister and you want to throw me to that pig? He is a greedy slacker. While the Dong clan saw Song Yu for what he was, a sorry excuse of a man, Dong Tianba found him as his dearest of friends, going out with every chance he got. What greedy slacker? He is true to himself, unlike those hypocritical gentlemen. Dong Tianba recalled that encounter with a smile, feeling he let down his dear friend in Nitrain City. It was also thanks to him for having notified the Song clan of the 100-pill meeting that they sent Song Yu to the gathering. He hoped Song Yu would use this chance to climb the ranks and dismiss the Dong clan's despising glances. With a bit of luck, the Song clan would be under Drifting Flowers Edifice's care and the Dong clan would have nothing to say if he asked for Dong Xiaowan's hand again. Zhuo Fan gave a bitter smile at the side. This is one odd elder brother. The rotten Song Yu just invited him to a drink a couple of times and he is ready to throw his sister in the former's lap. If I were the Dong grandfather, I would have tanned his rear to a paste. Furthermore, how come you push your sister on others you like while you yourself are unmarried? Zhuo Fan shook his head, worried over the happiness of the Dong clan and Dong Tianba's sister. Even the 4 elders behind them were red-faced with humiliation from having such a weirdo for a young master. They even looked around at times to make sure no one heard him. Zhuo Fan sighed, birds of a feather flock together. Bro song. Dong Tianba beckoned him with a strange smile, where's your sister? Zhuo Fan replied, she left after bringing me here. I made sure to personally see her off. He had an ineffable smile when he said personally. But it went over Dong Tianba's head, who was downcast. And I really wanted to gaze upon Miss Song one more time. I would have long sent the dowry if not for my old man refusing to have anything to do with your clan. Ha ha ha, the world houses countless beauties, bro Dong needn't hang on just one. Zhuo Fan smiled, my sister doesn't deserve you. Look around, there are countless girls in Drifting Flowers City to feast your eyes on. Sigh, bro Song, you wouldn't understand. You can't touch any of the girls here. Dong Tianba made sure no one was around before whispering, don't you know that the Drifting Flowers edifice is unique among the 7 houses for only having women? For 1,000 years, they had men marry into their house. This is a place where women reign. Does that mean you can't even chase girls? Dong Tianba had a deep look this time, bro, how come I feel like I know you less and less? Don't you know chasing and harassing have different meanings? Zhuo Fan laughed in dismay, yeah, you're absolutely right. Bro Dong is a genius. Ha ha ha, we both are. Didn't we used to swap pointers? How could you forget? Must be from the blow my sister's refusal gave you that you succumbed to your vices. Zhuo Fan nodded repeatedly. Dong Tianba was an oddball, but quite true to others. Talking with him all this time made Zhuo Fan feel at ease. By the way, brother Dong, what other rules are there? Like this tavern. Almost forgot. Dong Tianba spoke in a heavy tone, because of the massive influx of people throughout the 100-pill meeting, the Drifting Flowers edifice has laid some rules regarding lodging. The third-rate clans are to stay in the poor district, the second-rate clans in the taverns, and the first-rate clans are welcomed by the 15-floor keepers. The 7 noble houses. There are people from the 7 noble houses here. Zhuo Fan raised a question. Dong Tianba nodded, that is only natural. The 7 houses might be plotting and scheming among each other, but Drifting Flowers edifice is neutral. It is expected for 2-3 houses to be here, welcomed personally by the edifice lord. At the very least, Hell Valley is certain to be here. Zhuo Fan gasped. That explained the Hell Valley's disciples at the gate. They weren't purposely placed in every city for searching him in particular, but because they followed someone important from their house to participate in the 100-pill meeting. The one who must be representing Hell Valley had to be an elder, or maybe their valley lord. Who came from Hell Valley? Zhuo Fan asked frantically. Wrinkling his brows, Dong Tianba shook his head. But then a man burst through the door huffing, young master, the young miss is in trouble. Dong Tianba jumped to his feet and rushed with the 4 elders. Zhuo Fan was right behind them. They arrived at a market. There were many people standing at the sideline in silence. A fine and charming lady stood in front of a stall, holding a delicate piece of jewelry. Her phoenix eyes darted towards the crying woman on the ground. Dong Xiaowan's cheeks were swollen as tears streamed her stinging face. Anyone there would realize she was slapped, and not just once or twice. Dong Tianba hurried to help his sister as he roared, Xiaowan, what happened? Who did this? Brother, let's just go. Dong Xiaowan held in her sobs while taking a side glance at the stuck-up lady in red. Who said you can leave? The lady said with malice. Her sharp eyes stabbed like swords and made Dong Xiaowan shiver, I told you to slap yourself 100 times. Aren't you skipping some from 30? No matter who you think you are, I can make your whole clan burn if I want to. Crestfallen and shivering, Dong Xiaowan started slapping herself and her already swollen face began growing redder and bulgier along with the tears of humiliation. Dong Tianba grabbed her hands and snapped, Xiaowan, stop. Why are you doing this? Brother, it's all my fault. Dong Xiaowan cried, I wanted to buy that item, but she. Dong Tianba heard it clearly even if her voice trailed off. He turned his flaming eyes of rage to the lady in red. I get that you wanted to take the jewelry from my sister's hand, but why do you have to be so heavy-handed? Ha ha ha, I asked her politely, but she kept being rude to me and didn't know what's good for her. The lady mocked and threw the jewelry to the ground in spite. Now I lost all interest in it. So how can I not teach her manners for this? The lady's naked contempt made Dong Tianba spit words through gritted teeth. Bitch, I will make you regret this, or my name isn't Dong Tianba. He then went charging over. With how the lady was but in the 9th layer of qi condensation, his power was more than enough to deal with her. Unfortunately, a gale stopped him as a white figure flashed in front of him. Bam! The noise echoed around as Dong Tianba was sent flying into the air and in his previous place landed a handsome youth in white, fanning himself, 7th layer of bone tempering stage. Such a disciple was considered the cream of the crop among the 7 houses. Zhuo Fan's eyelid trembled and his feet moved. Dong Tianba and his 4 elders were nowhere near enough to deal with the newcomer. If he was impassive, this pair of siblings would experience a world of hurt today. But if he did act, he would earn a world of trouble, affecting his plans. But this bitch was too ruthless, she was asking for a beating. Not even he, a demonic emperor, could take this lying down. Chapter 92, Only a Game. Chapter 92, Only a Game. P4553R. Dandan, what happened? The white youth turned a blind eye to Dong Tianba and focused on the red lady. She, on the other hand, had only naked disdain for the Dong clan, nothing of importance, just some blind dogs yapping at my feet. Oh, they must be truly ignorant to offend Peony Edifice's Grand Miss Xiao, ha ha ha, the youth mocked. His words caused widespread shock, especially to Dong Tianba. What? The Peony Edifice? Belonging to the Drifting Flowers Edifice? Dong Tianba looked towards his terrified sister in a daze. That was why his sister was so set on bearing this humiliation. No one from the 7 noble houses could be offended, or one's entire clan would go extinct. Wanner, how? Dong Tianba sighed at his tear-stained sister, feeling how wrong she was. Xiao Dandan couldn't care less for their plight and glared at Dong Tianba. Weren't you about to hit me? Well, what's stopping you? Dong Tianba's body shivered and started to regret his transgression. I was at fault for not noticing your grandeur and offending Miss in my rash action. Please pardon me. Pardon, how are you guilty? Xiao Dandan sneered, you just said that I coveted your sister's item and then humiliated her. Sticking out for her is only normal, but do you have the strength to back it up? Gnashing his teeth, Dong Tianba cupped his hands. Miss lesson is that I am powerless and still dared to strike. He then slapped himself 6 times and his face swelled. The people around shook their heads. Stumbling upon any from the 7 houses was bound to bring humiliation to your entire clan. Humph, such filth, not in the least bit entertaining. Xiao Dandan grinned, why are men such cowards, lacking the basic mettle to stand tall? Then, she came up with a great idea that brought a smile to her lips. Brother Tianyu, why not have some fun with him? Dandan, what are you suggesting? The youth in white smiled. With a sweet smile, Xiao Dandan replied, this kid must be quite fond of his sister. You're quite able in martial arts and such an understanding character, so this should be convenient for you. If you can shred that girl's clothes under the protection of those 5 bone-tempering experts, she's yours to indulge in. The Drifting Flowers Edifice will even turn a blind eye. What? Dong Xiaowan shivered and Dong Tianba's eyes were bloodshot. This was no longer picking on others, but disgracing. Even if they were from the 7 houses, this was something the common people wouldn't stand for. Yet the youth in white waved her proposal off. Dandan, you've gravely misunderstood me. I come from merry woods, but that doesn't imply that I'm lecherous. You're making it hard for me to accomplish your request, ha ha ha. Your expression doesn't seem to be saying so. Fine, I don't mind it at all. So what are you worried about? I'll be yours next July anyway. You'll still get to join the Drifting Flowers edifice regardless. The youth in white rose an eyebrow, then turned an appreciative eye over Dong Xiaowan. He, since Dandan requests it, I must comply. But keep in mind, this is only a game, so don't go settle the score later. Despicable. Xiao Dandan rose the corner of her mouth. The youth in white walked towards Dong Xiaowan, who shivered at each of his steps. Ha ha ha, I am Lin Tianyu of Merry Woods, a future son-in-law of Drifting Flowers edifice. As you heard, I'm not lecherous and an insufferable bully, it is you who offended my future wife and have to be punished for your transgression. Young Master Lin. Dong Tianba said in pain, I am well aware of misgame and I would like to know if, by some fluke, we can stop your advance. Lin Tianyu just let out a mocking laughter and Xiao Dandan replied instead, if you can, then this matter will end here and we shall never have anything to do with each other. Then please forgive this offense. Dong Tianba roared and his eyes were filled with fighting spirit, having heard what he wanted. Yet Lin Tianyu's contempt only grew. Good eyes, but... Whoosh! A figure flitted by and Lin Tianyu was already behind Dong Xiaowan. His hand even held the delicate clothes of the latter. Too bad you're so weak. Ah! Dong Xiaowan cried as she covered her shoulder in tears. She was wearing 5 articles of clothing, and one was gone just like that, revealing the white and delicate skin beneath. Dong Tianba turned in shock. Lin Tianyu's speed was incredible. But Zhuo Fan only smirked. This kid is in the 7th layer of bone tempering stage, but his power is only in the 6th layer. His focus must be on speed. This was a typical case of putting the cart before the horse. No matter how fast you were, if you couldn't harm your opponent, it was useless. And he was already weaker than others by 1 layer. The more he'd advance, the more the gap would widen. To Zhuo Fan, such a cultivator was no different from a cripple. No wonder the Merry Woods sent him to marry into Drifting Flowers edifice. However, this was privy to an expert's eyes alone. Dong Tianba was nowhere near that level as he was even standing around scared from the display of speed. Elders, surround my sister. Dong Tianba shouted at the 4 elderly. They immediately formed a circle with Dong Xiaowan in their center, their eyes fixed on Lin Tianyu. With a vicious smile, Lin Tianyu said, it's no use. The 5 of you won't even see my shadow. A series of booms were heard and Dong Xiaowan cried out once again. Her 2nd article was removed, even under heavy guard. Dong Tianba couldn't accept this outcome. They were both in bone tempering stage, yet there was such a gap between them. Ah, what a soothing perfume. Lin Tianyu sniffed hard at the clothing in his hand and was intoxicated by the fragrance. If the 2nd clothing is so refreshing, I'm eager to know how Miss Underwear is like. Dong Xiaowan let out a shiver and cried in fear, brother. I will definitely protect you. Dong Tianba mustered his courage with a roar and set his eyes on Lin Tianyu's every move. Although he wished to marry her off to the useless Songyu, it was because he knew the later wasn't evil. However, anyone who dared to harm his sister would earn his wrath. Are you done? Hurry it up. Seeing Lin Tianyu showing his true colors, Xiao Dandan spat with revulsion. Lin Tianyu nodded while tucking the clothing in his chest and vanished. The next moment, his hand was holding another piece of clothing. And with it, Dong Xiaowan was shamed even further. Plop! Dong Tianba fell to his knees, powerless and helpless. He is so fast that I can't even see him. Wanner, forgive me, your brother is unable to protect you. Dong Tianba sobbed. Dong Xiaowan watched him in sorrow and closed her eyes, resigned to her fate. The 4 elders were also aggrieved. In this game of cat and mouse, they were left without any dignity. It would have been better to die than suffer like this. Then, Sudden footsteps were heard and a figure overshadowed Dong Tianba. He looked up, only to find Zhuo Fan looking at him. Bro Dong, how about you leave the last try to me? Who are you? Xiao Dandan cut Dong Tianba off before he could speak. Scratching his nose, Zhuo Fan pointed at Dong Xiaowan, ha ha ha, I'm her husband. What? Seeing the widespread shock, Zhuo Fan rushed to explain, no, she is my wife. What's the difference? The crowd exclaimed. Scratching his head, Zhuo Fan mused a bit and explained, well, I did go to her clan to propose but was refused. Does that make me an ex-husband? What ex? You were clearly kicked out. Everyone looked at him in contempt. Xiao Dandan even mocked, fine then, another bone-tempering moron won't change a thing. Plus, seeing your dearly beloved ravaged before your eyes is even more appealing. Ha ha ha, I don't mind as long as Dandan doesn't. One more would hardly matter. Lin Tianyu boasted. Standing back up, Dong Tianba looked at Zhuo Fan gravely, bro, you don't need to involve yourself in this. Ha ha ha, bro Dong, we aren't strangers, but close pals. Of course, I'll help you. This earned a nod of approval from the people. Chapter 93, Speed. Chapter 93, Speed. P4553R. Damn punk, what a load of gall you have. Once I'm through with her, I'll deal with you. Lin Tianyu stared down Zhuo Fan with killing intent. As a man from the 7 noble houses, everywhere he went all he saw was respect and envy. So a person like Zhuo Fan, who had only contempt, had to be put down. This was an unwritten law of the Tianyu Empire. Dong Tianba sensed his killing intent and sighed at Zhuo Fan's fate. Ha ha ha, bro Dong shouldn't waste time with a clown. Aware of the change in the atmosphere, Zhuo Fan still sported a casual smile. It was spoken low enough to seem nonchalant, but loud enough to let everyone in on his words. Everyone knew who he was hinting at, but none saw it coming from a first layer of bone-tempering cultivator. Only a fool would mock the 7 noble houses. The people started to pity Zhuo Fan's imminent and gruesome death. Ha ha ha, brother Tianyu, a fool just ridiculed you. Xiao Dandan felt the atmosphere was lacking, so she added oil to the fire. Lin Tianyu was now filled with hatred for Zhuo Fan. Humph, a retard's words won't affect me. I'll just swipe him away once I'm done with the girl. He then stepped forward. A fierce wind blew and vanished, but his laughter never stopped banging on the other's ears. Ha ha ha, only the last article remains and then I will get to truly appreciate this lady. Dong Xiaowan was curled up in fear, her hands tightened on her last shred of dignity. Dong Tianba and the 4 elders made a tight circle around her. However, Zhuo Fan stood there impassive, as if it had nothing to do with him. Suddenly, Lin Tianyu appeared before Dong Xiaowan and reached for her last article with a grin. He, I won. Think again. A snort reached his ears. He didn't even get the chance to react and a fist smashed into his pretty face. He went tumbling through the air and smacked the pavement before he could get his bearing. When he got up from the ground his cheek was already swollen. What just happened? The two were so fast that the onlookers didn't see a shadow. They only heard 2 loud sounds and then came Lin Tianyu kissing the ground. Zhuo Fan also appeared, his hand outstretched above Dong Xiaowan. You, got him? Dong Tianba was stunned. When not even himself and his 4 elders could save his sister, this kid managed to save the day. Putting aside the fact that his first layer bone-tempering cultivation held more power than a 7th layer, his speed alone was inconceivable. In a casual manner, Zhuo Fan rubbed his presumably sore fist. Something just came towards my fist. Oi, it stings. His words startled everyone, and Dong Tianba even began to laugh. Ha ha ha, great. Bro, how did you do it? I couldn't even see him. Do you even need to see? Zhuo Fan rose an eyebrow and sported a vague smile. Isn't his target obvious? If you build a wall next to her, he's bound to bump into it. It was so obvious now that everyone could think of it. They were so focused on Lin Tianyu's speed mastery that they were led by the nose. But even with his impressive speed, his target was Dong Xiaowan. All they had to do was keep their eyes on her. This simple reasoning almost made them tear up. Amazing! An elder praised Zhuo Fan, young master Song is really a genius worthy of our young master's admiration. Ha ha ha, see little sister. Don't I always say bro Song is a man of ethics and talent? If it wasn't for him, you'd never have escaped this predicament. Dong Tianba laughed as he lifted the weight off his heart. Dong Xiaowan blushed as she conveyed her thanks and appreciation to Zhuo Fan through her eyes. Waving it off, Zhuo Fan made eye contact with Dong Tianba. Bro Dong, can you stop? It's not up to you how it ends. Picking up on his gesture, Dong Tianba walked before Xiao Dandan with a smile. Miss, we were lucky to have stopped this youth. I'm sure a disciple from Drifting Flowers edifice wouldn't cross her word, so let us end it here. I will be taking my sister now. With a deep bow, Dong Tianba was about to leave. Wait. Xiao Dandan eyed the crowd and gave a lopsided grin. I will forego this matter, of course, but too bad Brother Tianyu isn't too fond of that idea. Humph, in all my life, I've never been punched so hard. Chapter 94, What Goes Around, Comes Around. Chapter 94, What Goes Around, Comes Around. How could this be? Xiao Dandan watched the drifting cloth in shock. How could she not know her future husband's strongest point? Mary Woods was known as the Wind House, known for having the fastest speed in the empire. Not to mention, Lin Tianyu chose to abandon power for even more speed. He reached such a mastery that even a peak bone tempering expert would be left in the dust. However, a low-level bone tempering brat did the unthinkable and managed to surpass him. Not only was Xiao Dandan incredulous, but so was Lin Tianyu. His face was frozen in shock as no words could leave his mouth. As for Dong Tianba's group, they were slack-jawed. Particularly young Master Dong, who knew Song Yu for ages. Never once had he displayed such outstanding features. Yet, here he was, a third-rate clans member winning against a Seven Houses disciple. Everyone became silent, with all eyes focused on the proud Zhuo Fan, their words stuck in their throat. Grinning evilly, Zhuo Fan sniffed and said with satisfaction oozing from his voice, Miss Dandan, you truly are an amazing beauty, evident from this fragrance. I will never forget this soothing smell for as long as I live. Xiao Dandan stared at him with a red face. Lin Tianyu was turning green, his heart bleeding from hatred. Bastard! You dare harass my wife in my presence? Do you take Mary Woods for nothing? Taking a side glance at Lin Tianyu, Zhuo Fan grinned inside and flashed before Xiao Dandan. She then cried in panic when Zhuo Fan hugged her. She tried to resist but was a moot effort against Zhuo Fan's cultivation. Damn brat, what do you think you're doing? Lin Tianyu roared. Zhuo Fan watched the red-faced Xiao Dandan and raised an eyebrow in challenge. Miss Dandan, I'm not as flimsy as that weak lord. I've always learned to take the initiative with a woman. My actions were a bit rude to you, miss. So, you can hit me or curse me, but I'll still do the same. Xiao Dandan was glaring at him, yet her heart stirred. Zhuo Fan's pushy attitude was worlds apart from Lin Tianyu's flattery. This feeling was so new to her that she didn't know where to place it. Rotten brat, let go or you'll be sorry. Zhuo Fan was courting his woman before his eyes and even before the public. Something that Lin Tianyu could not bear any longer. But Zhuo Fan was far from done. He pulled her closer instead, eliciting a charming cry from Xiao Dandan. It made any male on the scene feel their pulse quickened, swallowing dryly, and sporting wide and nasty grins. Meanwhile, the women around blushed. Lin Tianyu's face was ashen, wishing to tear Zhuo Fan limb by limb. Snorting, Zhuo Fan raised a taunting eyebrow. Brother Lin, isn't this a game of your own accords? Since time immemorial, the winner receives everything while the loser ends up with nothing. If Brother Lin wins, you'll have 2 women. If not, well. Zhuo Fan patronized, then turned to blow his hot breath in Xiao Dandan's ear. Miss Dandan, if I win, please be so kind as to kick this man out and make me your guest. His tone was soft, yet his words traveled far, particularly stabbing into Lin Tianyu's ears. However, this wasn't what struck his core, it was Xiao Dandan's blushing and faint nod. Zhuo Fan had given another wave of shock to the crowd and many were now eyeing him with envy. Damn rotten bastard. He snatched a drifting flowers edifice's girl right out of that flimsy Mary Wood's disciple in minutes. His skill is worthy of being a pioneer in the sacred art of chasing skirts. If I had such skill, I would also take a drifting flowers edifice girl for myself. Lin Tianyu trembled, his lips leaked a trail of blood. Bastard, you've taken this too far. Ha ha ha, what of it? What goes around comes around. Next time, if you're lucky enough to win, then speak. Zhuo Fan's wicked grin wasn't in the least bit heroic or worthy of his conquest, but it made everyone's heart shiver. While the women were swooning, Lin Tianyu had a belly full of hatred. Zhuo Fan's incessant mockery was trumped by stealing his woman. This exceeded his bottom line long ago, son of a bitch. Once I peel your girl's clothes, I'll finish you off. Lin Tianyu appeared before Dong Xiaowan. She cried in fear, but Lin Tianyu's evil clutches didn't arrive. A slap cuffed him over the ear into the ground. When he looked up, Zhuo Fan was back next to Xiao Dandan, continuing to mock. Miss Dandan, that limp noodle lost again, I'm afraid I will have to relieve you of another article. A rip was heard and an article left Xiao Dandan's body more exposed. Zhuo Fan lifted her chin. Miss Dandan, please, don't blame my uncouth act. Her charming eyes rolled and her face turned rosy, playing coy. Can't you be more gentle? Ha ha ha, I am uncouth and unmannered, this is something that won't change for as long as I live. Zhuo Fan shook his head. Lin Tianyu's eyes were bloodshot and looked as though he was about to spit fire. Rotted bastards, both of you. Lin Tianyu went for Dong Xiaowan again with the same result. Zhuo Fan made sure to even slap him 5 times for good measure. And it resulted in Xiao Dandan's turn to loosen her clothing. Yet the lady hardly cared, making Lin Tianyu's coals of anger burn hotter. With but one flimsy and thin piece left on Miss Xiao Dandan, Zhuo Fan's grin turned maniacal. Brother Lin, final chance. If you fail now, Miss Dandan is mine. Wretched filth, you dare mock the 7 houses? Lin Tianyu spat, the ire in his heart having grown out of his control. Yet oddly enough, he was clear-headed enough to understand Zhuo Fan's speed overwhelmed him, so he chose another angle, using Mary Wood's name. But why would Zhuo Fan care when he even had the nerve to kill Hell Valley's elders? As a result, Lin Tianyu words only worked to goad Zhuo Fan further, who, under Lin Tianyu's rage-filled eyes, landed a kiss on Xiao Dandan's cheek. Ha ha ha, I'm about to be Drifting Flowers Edifice's son-in-law, why the hell would I be afraid of your goddamned Mary Woods? Isn't that right, my lady? Xiao Dandan was so far gone, accepting anything he was throwing at her, that she nodded without remorse. Ah! It would seem Lin Tianyu had had enough and charged at the couple. He even went as far as cursing at his revered Xiao Dandan. Bitch, you are both a bunch of dogs. I will send you both to hell. He made a hand sign and a green gale gathered around his legs. The sharp whistling spoke of its deadly power as he kicked at them. He had foregone using his prized speed in favor of stealing victory by force. Mid-spirit ranked martial art, razor kick. Xiao Dandan cried in shock, Lin Tianyu, the gall of you, to try to kill me right in Drifting Flowers Edifice's city. Humph, for a skank like you, I will do the world a favor by killing you both. Xiao Dandan was now afraid after noticing the killing intent in his eyes. She was only in Qi condensation stage, while Zhuo Fan was in his first layer of bone tempering stage. It was not possible for him to take on such an attack. However, Zhuo Fan just mocked, "Brother Lin, is this your final struggle?" "Oh, how pathetic." Zhuo Fan's arm snaked around Xiao Dandan's waist while his other acted as a shield. Bam! The green gale lashed at Zhuo Fan's arm, but the sounds coming out of it was that of screeching metal. The kick didn't even scratch his arm, though his sleeve did turn to shreds, revealing an all-glorious and perfectly chiseled arm. "This can't be." Lin Tianyu seemingly crazy as he muttered, "You're a body cultivator. How can you be so fast?" With a mocking smile, Zhuo Fan simply replied, "Who told you that we can't also train in speed? Trading off power for such measly speed will only be done by a dumbass like you." Zhuo Fan's eyes evoked killing intent that turned Lin Tianyu into a shivering mess. He didn't get to react as Zhuo Fan kicked him on the head. Blood spurted and Lin Tianyu felt a sharp pain digging its way into him. He let out one final wail before his eyes lost their light and slumped on the ground. None of the people could believe their eyes. A simple kick finished a 7 noble houses disciple, who had a 6-layer advantage over his opponent. The fight ended not in praise of power or speed but rather mockery towards Mary Woods. "Miss Dandan, did you see that? I don't discriminate, I am as uncouth and rude to men as well. If your fiancé lives, he still won't see reason. I hope you do not blame me for this." Zhuo Fan acted like his crime never happened and resumed flirting with the lady. Xiao Dandan watched him enamored and blinked in joy. "You've done perfectly. With you around, why would I need that trash for?" "Don't you worry, you'll soon join Drifting Flowers edifice and Mary Woods won't be able to lay a finger on you." "Ha ha ha, thank you Miss Dandan for your care." Just that, Zhuo Fan eyed Xiao Dandan's last vestige of dignity. "According to the rules, for your fiancé to lose, I'd have to pry out the last article." With a coy and blushing face, Xiao Dandan wrapped her soft lily-white hands around his neck. "Brother, I am soon to be yours. If you want my body, you'll have to wait till tonight. Or do you want the people to see everything?" "Ha ha ha." Zhuo Fan scratched his nose after looking at her delectable body. Then, Zhuo Fan's eyes turned sharp and startled the flirting woman. "Humph, weren't you listening? What goes around comes around. This goes for you too." Zhuo Fan reached for her last piece and Xiao Dandan was filled with fear. Would she have any face left to walk into Drifting Flowers edifice if she went naked in the middle of the city? Suddenly, a loud shout came, "Stop!" And 2 blue silk ribbons drifted over. Zhuo Fan's hand froze in shock, a profound heaven expert. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.